Hello, good evening, and welcome. We're back in person. It's me, Wayne, and this is
Will.
You know your name. I'm glad. I'm happy.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, Will?
I'm all right. We have crossed the Citrix maledictum to be back recording in person like the old days, which is always good.
It is. It is genuinely good. I can see your face, and there's no delay, which is why we keep talking over each other. I'm normally used to it. I talk a little bit slower. I am caffeinated. I do apologise. We've had Haribo. I'm sugared. I'm caffeinated.
Yeah, we have actually.
It's good.
They were good.
I enjoyed them a lot. We're going to talk a lot about Warhammer, as usual. You would expect it is a Warhammer podcast. What podcast is it?
It is Feel No Pain.
That's right. It is the Feel No Pain podcast. Welcome and thank you for joining us again. So it's a big one.
It is.
I mean, it's not the big one, is it? Because that's the Adepticon reveals. That's going to be the next.
That'll be
the
next.
next big one. But we're going to talk about Warhammer 40K. Who would have thought?
We've got a whole episode dedicated to it.
Indeed, we do. We're not going to talk about any Age of Sigmar.
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, that's
Unless
disappointing.
something might come up in natural conversation. But what are we going to talk about?
I think we're going to talk about our top 10 Warhammer 40,000 miniatures.
Yeah, we've been threatening this one for a little while, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Did you literally go through them all?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I did as
and
well.
I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I didn't enjoy?
What?
The bloody website is crap. It made me sad.
That's it. Yeah. Oh, didn't really bother me that much.
Oh, I could crush a grape. I'm not angry.
I think I know this is going to sound a bit daft, but I was surprised at the lack of. I thought in my head the range was bigger, and I think I'm still sort of in the mindset that certain models exist that don't anymore, or that have updated versions. And I was looking for some older ones, and they just weren't there. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. But I suppose I don't do a deep dive into 40k that often because we've been looking at Kill Team more than anything. So it was a little bit of a surprise, but most of the stuff that I wanted to put in my top 10 is still there, but there's just one that I've got that is an honourable mention, but we'll come to that one.
Fair dues. Oh, I'm excited to find out. I've not seen your... Well, we'll talk about this in a minute when we get to it. I think what else we're going to talk about is a couple of the new reveals, leaks, I don't know.
Leaks / reveals, yeah. I mean, we had the big one, Yarrick has returned.
It is.
Yeah.
Shall we just talk about Yarrick now and just roll from the intro?
Let's do it. But yeah, I mean, that one was kind of... I don't want to say stealth dropped, but it seemed to come out of nowhere. I mean, there's been rumours lurking around for a while that this was going to be the case, but when was it? Was it Monday afternoon at about 3 o'clock, just out of the blue?
16th of March it was.
16th. Was that Monday?
Let's go with yes. I think it is 19th,
earlier
isn't it?
this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of, for me, just came out of nowhere, really. But what do you think of the new model?
I think it's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody put this and the old one next to each other, I'm like, well, what's new? I'm massively underwhelmed.
I really like it. I think it's just a nice update on the classic sculpt. You immediately know who it is, and I think it didn't need anything massively changing. I think it's just better proportioned and modernised. But you're not a guard man, though, are you? So
I'm not a guard man, but I see where you're coming from. But I think that very mentality is flawed in that's what they're using to sell us more models. Like,
you're not going to like my top 10 then.
if it could have just been different in some way, shape or form. And it's like, I get that they're not going to. Okay, so two things. They want to make it recognizable, as you said, but it's like,
I mean, he's got the big metal hand.
isn't you know who he is?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's discounted in the first instance. Secondly, I guess if they make it exactly the same as the previous one, then you have no incentive to buy the new version.
Yeah.
Even if the sculpt is better, if the pose and the loadout and everything is the same, and the rules then same, you've no reason to buy this model if you don't like it.
True.
But this feels like it just so underwhelming. They made a big thing of Yarrick being dead, and now this is just like the most underwhelming way of coming back. I'm not a guard person, you're right, but I really like Yarrick as a character.
Yeah, I mean,
really like him.
Strangely, I do like the guard, but Yarrick was never my guy. So I think I'm excited to see what it means for the lore, but it's not going to be a model that I pick up. What I was more interested in was the trailer for that new, the video series. I can't remember what it's called, rather than the model itself. So, speaking from the lore side of it, I think that's what's interested me.
I believe it's
Iron
called.
Will, that's it.
Yeah.
Ironic that I couldn't remember what it was
Is
called.
that your nickname?
I can be if you want. Did you notice anything about that trailer?
Not overly. I mean,
This,
go on.
So, No Steel Legion in that trailer whatsoever. And this is meant to be the War for Armageddon. Where are the Steel Legion? Why is it just Krieg and Cadians there? Where's the Steel Legion gone?
Is this actually the War for Armageddon, or is this the new Armageddon?
But they said that they were on Armageddon in the trailer, right?
But the new launch box is called Armageddon as well.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
So this could be them in Armageddon, which would make sense because rather than doing the retrospective one, they would do the animation of the current one. Is on Armageddon.
Well, why aren't the Steel Legion there?
Well, I don't know. That it's not been revealed in the story. I'm just wondering, are you conflating the two? I don't know where this is set.
Well, I think I think I'm more. I think there's just a lack of diversity in the guard range at the moment, and I thought if Yarrick's coming back, it would make sense to do a bit of a refresh for the Steel Legion rather than shoehorn a different regiment in. Personally, but I mean, I know you could proxy the Krieg guys out quite easily, but. Gone are the days where you had really individual models for the different guard regiments, and I miss that as a guard fan. And I think that would have been a really good time to bring them back into it. But I suppose we'll know more when more has been released about this, and when that trailer turns into the release for the actual show itself. So I guess we can come back to that. But to me, it looks like they're just doing away with the Steel Legion, which I think is a shame.
I mean, yeah, but there's so many. Again, I'm not a guard player or a fan, but there's so many different guard regiments in there that we used to have models for. I mean, I can probably name 5, maybe 6.
Yeah,
but I'm going to try. Who we got? So we got Krieg.
Yeah.
Katachan. Mordians.
Yeah.
Steel Legion.
Yeah.
Talhallan. Desert Raiders.
You're on 5.
Vostorians?
Yeah.
The Russians?
Yeah.
All right, I'm at 6. That's more than
there's Schaefer's Last Chances, Gaunt's Ghosts.
They're not regiments either.
Tanith are a regiment. In their own right.
And Gaunt's Ghosts.
Gaunt's Ghosts are a regiment. Yeah, the Tanith first and only.
All right, okay.
Yeah. You need to read them books. But but no, there's loads, isn't there, that just aren't around anymore. And there's a load of rumors that the Katachans are going to get a kill team box and a refresh, which I think that would be cool. And there's a new novel about the Chem Dogs coming out, so it would make sense if they got something on the back of that, perhaps even a kill team, that kind of thing. So I don't know, but we'll see. It just seems strange that the Steel Legion have been left out, and it would have made sense to put them back in with Yarrick, to me.
Aren't Steel Legion most? I know, again, forgive my ignorance on guard stuff. Aren't they mostly vehicle based? Hence the name.
Yeah, but
perhaps they'll do it with a vehicle refresh that's rumored to be coming.
Maybe so, but they did have quite a striking presence. They were also gas masked, but slightly different to how the Krieg looked. They looked less of that sort of World War I trench warfare vibe. They did have different coats, but not like the trench coats that you see, and the gas mask didn't look as reminiscent from reality. And very different paint job because they were that sort of sandy, sort of yellowy colour, weren't they? That sort of mustardy colour.
Yes,
yeah.
I have vague recollections of them from White Dwarf. But
yeah, but I mean, we're going back quite a long time, from when they were sort of more relevant. But yeah, it just seemed like a bit of an omission for me.
I think if it was, I can't remember who ever talked about this in a previous episode, but I get why people would be salty, because I know Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum, whatever we're calling them now, are something that people love, and I get it, totally get it. But I think they could almost have it in a manner that each unit type is a different regiment. So I don't know if there's one that specifically specializes in heavy weapons, and you have those, you know what I mean? And then perhaps have, for the ones that you said look like each other, so perhaps the Krieg and the Steel Legion, you could have an upgrade sprue so it's the same body, and do it that way so that you can mix and match if you want. And that, I think that gives people options. But again, I suppose they look at it from a financial viability perspective, and if a couple of them, like the Talhallan Desert Raiders, it's popular. I mean, everybody loves Krieg, don't they? Even I'm kind of like, I like the aesthetic. So I kind of get it, but it is disappointing for fans. Or at least do a limited run or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But no,
well, I think they've been, on their made-to-order ones. They do the throwbacks. I think they've done it on there a few times. I don't know. It's still early days, isn't it? And like you say, if this was a leak that they've had to push out sooner, maybe they're just giving us a little teaser of what might be to come.
Totally.
But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens on the far side of it as well, because I feel that this is tied to the 11th edition launch. I think it's this version of Armageddon.
So we're thinking Guard v Orcs then.
Pretty much.
I'd be happy to see that. Something a little different.
And I think we will maybe see some more Guard stuff come out of that. Like I say, this feels like it's been a leak because Yarrick being such a big character, just to be dropped on a random Monday.
Yeah. I agree with that. I didn't think about it until you said it, but yeah, it seems likely. But I mean,
but we had the Orc drop, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, leaked, and now we've had
That's true, actually. Yeah.
A big character like this leak. And I think it is valid to say that he is a huge character.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just distraught that this is how he's coming back after they made such a big thing of Yarrick is dead.
Yeah. It's a strange one that it's come back without as much fanfare as you'd expect for somebody returning from the dead.
I think it was one of the chaps on the Discord said that it would have been great to bring him back and turn into a dreadnought. I was like, yeah, it would. Yeah. I would love to see Yarrick, but get this, in an orc dreadnought.
In an orc dreadnought, yeah.
But I think there's so much cool stuff around this. I mean, I think as well, they could really play into the Yarrick is dead motif by, maybe Yarrick did actually die. He was actually dead, but the orcs believed he wasn't dead. And that's why he's alive and he's back. He was dead. He actually legitimately died, but they believe he's not dead. And so
they've willed him back.
They willed him back to life, Will. And so like making Yarrick functionally immortal. What if they made like him a rank? What if they made Yarrick a rank?
Oh, that's
and it was just perpetual. That'd be it. Yeah. It's like a mantle that gets passed from one commissar to the next commissar, and the orcs just believe it, and so it is.
Yeah, they just pass down the giant claw.
Yeah, dude.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, well, I suppose we'll know sooner rather than later, won't we?
Yeah.
With any luck. And we'll also see what happens at Adepticon. If they drop anything else, relating to that, then we will know a bit more.
100%.
Yeah.
One thing that I do not like about this new one, though.
Go on.
I don't like his weird storm bolter, although I appreciate that the old one had the storm bolter. I really miss the skeleton from the original model, and I like the pincer claw of the power claw, which isn't something that I would normally say because it's a little bit humorous, it's a little bit derpy, it's a little bit whimsical. But I think because this was one of the first Warhammer models that really caught my eye and I knew who it was.
Yeah,
my friend at the time that I was into Warhammer with really liked Yarrick, so it has like a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
But
that's like something I'd say.
It does. It does sound like something you would say.
Yeah. But no, I think it's good. I mean, I'm a big fan of nostalgia, especially in my Warhammer, which you'll probably hear more about in my top 10. And it's nice to see a beloved character come back like this. I mean, as I say, he's not my favourite commissar by any means. You will find out who my favourite commissar is later in the episode. Spoiler alert. If you've listened to us before, you probably know who that is. But yeah, I really like this sculpt. I think he looks older. You know who it is. And I just think it's a really good upgrade. And I'm excited to see, read some novels or see this video and see what happens in the lore. Why is he back? How did he come back? What's he going to do? I'm excited.
I probably will paint it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I would I mean, it is a nice sculpt. I can't say anything against that. I prefer the pose being a little bit more dynamic than the old one.
Yeah.
I like the wavy bits on it. I know a lot of people have issue with the wavy bits on it. Like the things that are blowing in the wind, like the
on his
tabards and stuff.
Cape, yeah.
I love the look on his face. Like the sculpting is genuinely wonderful. To look at it, I really appreciate it, and I want to paint it. I want to try and paint it in the style that I'm trying to work in now, just see what it looks. And so in that respect, I do like the model. I just find it underwhelming.
Okay.
And I can't get over the fact that he just always has and always will look like M. Bison to me.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. But I mean, I don't think he needs to look overwhelming. I think, you know who he is instantly. He doesn't need that model doesn't need to scream at you anything other than what he is. And I think for me that's why it works. I think he's almost understated because it's quite a muted palette. And it is this recognizable pose that we know. His loadout is the same. You know who that is. He doesn't need to be embellished by anything else. That's the way I look at it.
I think that's quite an eloquent way of putting it. I agree. I do think the palette on the new sculpt is really, really good. There's parts of it that have inverted from the previous one, which I also really liked, especially his chest piece.
Oh, I didn't notice that until I'm looking at it now. Yeah, with the red and the gold.
Yeah. Really liked that, and I really do feel like this paint job is really good at highlighting bits of details that I hadn't noticed on original look around the miniature when they posted it.
Do you know what? Sorry to interject there. I have just noticed something that I didn't notice previously.
Go on.
If you look beneath the skull on his chest plate, that looks a lot like the Black Templar's insignia, which was not on the old sculpt. That's new, isn't it?
On his belt, the Iron Star.
Yeah. Didn't notice that until just now. But that's quite recognisable, isn't it?
Yeah, it does look like it.
Yeah. I wonder if that is a sign of anything, or if it's just a red herring, or if I'm just reading a bit too much into it. But are we going to get something with the Templars in mind?
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's a good point. It's a very good spot as well. I wouldn't have noticed that one.
Yeah. Sorry, it just jumped out at me then when I'm looking. I've got Warhammer Community open in front of me on my laptop, and I'm just looking at that page where it's comparing the 3 different sculpts.
One of the things I do like about this is I think this is a lovely little detail as well. Like the connection from his backpack to the servo, to the claw looks like a servo assist.
Didn't notice
I really liked that.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a nice little detail.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's the thing. We're starting to see more of this sort of detail appear in some of the models. But then conversely, we're seeing the removal of some of the superfluous detail in some of the other models, which I really, really like. This makes me feel, and I know you didn't like it, makes me feel like it's a conscious decision by the designers, because this feels intentful, much like I feel that the Defiler has a lot of intentful design characteristics that make it work in universe. Yeah. Not just lorically, but make it mechanically more viable, even though I realize it's a demon engine. And it feels like this is the same thing here, where it feels, yes, it's fantastical, yeah, it's science fiction, but it also feels mechanically viable at the same time. And I really like that. I think that's just it's a chef kiss little detail on a model that is somewhat and it's that kind of little addition where I feel that I was a little bit harsh criticizing it compared to the previous one, because I don't see it on the previous one as being there. No, it's not.
No.
So, I think that is a reasonable progression.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I think it's a very succulent, tasty little little addition to it. So well done. Now, if you could just give him back the skeleton on the gun, that would be gangster.
I'm glad that's gone personally, but we'll agree to disagree on that.
Nah, man, that's cool. How can you not like that?
It's
You're dead inside, mate.
Yeah, maybe so.
Dead inside.
Yeah.
It would be nice as well if they gave him an alternate power claw with the pincer on it.
That would be cool. Well, they might do.
And an alternate gun with the skeleton on it would be fine.
We don't know yet. Might have it.
Maybe
I doubt it.
Maybe they won't. If not, it's a prime reason to convert something up, I think, for people if they wanted to do that. It'd be great. Really cool. Anything else to say on good old Commissar Yarrick?
I don't think so. Not for now. I think it's probably something we're likely to come back to when we know more. But I think it sparked a bit of debate with us, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I didn't expect it to be talking for 20 minutes about Yarrick, really.
No, that's true. But
right. Shall we leave that one there, and we'll go into the actual meat and 2 veg of this, the top 10.
The meat and 2 veg.
Meat and 2 veg.
That means something different where I'm from.
Well, who knows? But yeah, we'll leave that with you.
Let's dive into the top 10.
Top 10 time in 40k then, Will.
Yeah.
It's been a while. We've talked about it. We've hinted. We've teased.
We've finally done it, though. Do you want to
We've consummated his relationship. We're actually gonna talk about our top 10 Warhammer 40,000 models.
Yeah. So we had a couple of caveats, didn't we? No centerpiece models, no vehicles.
No vehicles.
Was that about it, really, actually, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. So
No Primax.
I didn't. No Primax. I did also say when we were doing it, but I don't think either of us have, that we were going to extend it to any Warhammer 40,000 model that had ever been in print.
Yes.
But I've not done that.
Right,
I've basically just looked through the Games Workshop website as it is now, including Forge World stuff or whatever it's all rolled in.
Yeah.
I think it was 942 separate items.
Was it?
Well, it wasn't mine. Something like that. And I sat down and looked through them all. And I
Every
compiled a
single
very large list.
And you had to whittle it down, did you?
I did, like it was a stick. And then I was using a penknife of culling to get it down to my personal 10 favorites.
Do you want to take the lead? Do you want to give me a 10?
Number 10. My number 10.
Yeah, go on.
Okay then. Let's jump right on in, and I'm just going to get it out there straight away. Standard intercessors.
Standard intercessors.
Yeah. Top 10. Number 10. Standard intercessors.
Tell me why.
I just think
they're neat.
They're neat. Yeah. I think they look cool.
Yeah.
Even with the helmets. Obviously, I would replace them with Mark 7 because you would.
Yeah. Well,
and then they look even cooler.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think any intercessor, and I mean this like in the sweepingest of ways, any intercessor I think looks cool.
Yeah.
Anything in Mark 10, other than the lieutenant jumping forward with the sword, looks not so cool. But any intercessor I think looks functionally great. I think that's how Space Marine should look. I know there's all of the hate for Primaris or whatever, what happened with that. I really like them. I won't talk too much about why other than that. I just think, for me, intercessors, quintessentially Space Marines, they're good.
Yeah.
It's a bog standard. It's a nice foundation. I'm there for it.
A solid way to kick off the top 10.
What about you? What's your 10?
So kicking off my top 10 is Ragnar Blackmane.
Good old Ragnar Blackmane, eh?
I've always liked the young wolf as a character in his own right, going back to my initial interest in the 40k universe and the Space Wolf omnibus as it was. And I feel like this updated sculpt really captures his character from them novels. You know, he's meant to be this young, reckless, aggressive Space Wolf. He's always sort of charging first. And I think the sculpt really does that justice for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, he's kind of mid-stride, lunging forward. He's got his chainsword, Frostfang, I think it's called. You know, it's raised for the killing blow. His cloak and his hair are really sort of flowing behind him, giving him a real sense of forward motion. And, you know, he doesn't look like he's posing for a photo of this guy. He looks like he's already halfway through killing something. Like, I get a lot of aggression and movement from that pose.
Okay.
And it really, it's exactly how I picture it in the novels. And, yeah, that's why he's there for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I like the sculpt, mostly.
Yeah.
I think his leg could be higher.
Yeah.
I would like to see that, but other than his leg being higher, just to give him a little bit more movement for me, I think.
Okay.
Everything else I would agree with.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good update to the character, to be absolutely honest. There's a couple of little details on there that I think this is going to be a running theme. I'll probably just look more at the details and want to talk about them because I love talking about this stuff, guys. I really like I'm sure there's an actual word for these things, but I'm going to call them the cleats on his boots.
Cleats.
Yeah.
Are you American? We call them studs over here.
They are not studs.
You can tell you're not a sports fan. That's what cleats are, studs. Do you mean the spikes on his feet?
Yeah, the spike. Yeah. I think they look cool. And you know what? I didn't appreciate up until now looking at this in a real detailed kind of like just looking around all of the model for things to talk about, right? I didn't equate them to being like claws. Yeah. Which makes me feel like properly daft considering
like wolf claws.
Wolf claws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose if you've never really looked at this model up close, I mean, you've never sort of held it in your hand, I assume.
No.
So you kind of wouldn't notice that at first glance, would you?
No, I think this is a really fun, well done model. There's just a lot to like about it. I really like Frostfang. I think that's how a chainsword should look. I love the extended handle on it. It kind of, again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, you know, like having that double-edged handle, that double-sized handle, almost like a bastard sword,
yeah,
gives it that if you're bringing it down, just by definition, it's going to like try and rip it out of your hand, isn't it? As it kind of starts to rip into the flesh. So being able to bear down on it with the proper weight, or wolf down on it with all of your weight, it's like keeping it in place. I love that. And it's a tiny little detail that probably I've overthought, but just looking around the model, I'm excited for that. And I like that. I think it's great. Yeah, I really like this, dude. I think this is a good choice.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Ragnar just in general, and you're probably going to get a sense that a lot of my picks are based on characters in the lore that I like. But yeah, I mean, I have this model. So my partner, she bought it for me, sort of off the cuff at some point last year. I think I was just having a bad week or something. And I've built it. Tell you what, it was a bugger to build. I'll give you that with his cloak, because it's a bit of a strange angle.
Did the cloak come all the way back?
Yeah, and it kind of curves upwards as well.
I didn't know you had this.
I do, yeah. But I'm just a big fan of Ragnar. And, I bought we mentioned last time, I bought the Wolf Scouts Kill Team box. And I'm going to paint them up as if they're from his, what am I trying to say? Company.
Great Wolf.
Yeah. So I'm going to paint them up with his insignia on the shoulder with the yellow accents, because they're not
nice.
A standard. They're part of Logan Grimnar's company, aren't they?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
The great, yeah.
So I'm going to do them slightly differently, just to go in line with him. Even if I just end up taking some photos with him stood alongside them. Yeah, I think
I like that a lot.
Cool. Yeah, but yeah, my number 10.
Okay, let me jump back then and look at my number 9. Okay, so this is a little out there, and I know this is going to be contentious. I know a lot of people hate this model. I really, really like it. It's the Nid Death Leaper.
Do people hate it?
Yeah, it got like a lot of hate when it came out, because
Really?
you know how it's got like the flesh cape.
Yeah.
There was a whole kind of commentary on like it doesn't need a flesh cape. You're just giving it something different to look like. Why does it need to look like it's wearing a cape? And I really like it. I thought, you know what it reminded me. So this, I don't care if you want to know or not. I'm going to tell you.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. So you may or may not have ever seen a film called Mimic.
I don't think I have.
So it's where there's some genetically engineered bugs that were let out to, infect people to solve a pandemic kind of situation, and then they evolved, and they're basically cockroaches, and they started to evolve, get big, and hunt humans, and they kind of started to impersonate humans and evolve into like death's head moths kind of do the thing. Yeah, so like that. And in I think it's like either the second or the third film, it looked a lot like this, and it kind of had the shell wrapped around it, and it looked like a dude in a trench coat with a trilby hat on. And this just made me think about that, how it looks when it's opened up. Really looked like that, how the floor, the big, I'm sure they've got a proper word, but the big scything talons.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what they
kind
call
of
it.
appeared out of it. How it just has a real interesting look to it. I think the head looks quite like a spider's head, all the different eyes. I like the mouth. It's got like almost like a predator vibe, a spider vibe. And then you look at it again from another angle and you're like, that looks like a vampire squid. And then it's obviously got like the feelings of a mantis, and it's got the flesh cape. It's got like elements of perhaps the monster from Jeepers Creepers. There's a whole gamut of different things in here from pop culture that I just really liked. The paint scheme I hate, and I've seen some absolutely stunning paint jobs of this that look terrifying. It is such a great, fun model. It feels alien. It feels like there's enough presence in it that it's not too out there in terms of the morphology of it, that it feels like it wouldn't work. There's a lot of really cool things that I like about this, and it just, I dig it. I dig it on so many levels.
I get everything you're saying there. What I really like about this model is it's a really nice contrast to your Carnifexes and your Hive Tyrants. I think this one leans into that fear aspect of Tyranids a little more. I mean, I've never painted one, and I agree with you on the paint scheme that we see there. I think that would be a really fun project for me to do. And I've seen how you've painted Nids in the past, and I think you could make that look super scary.
I'd give it a go. The more I look at 40K again and kind of pivoting backwards and forwards after having finished the majority of what I want to paint in AOS for gaming, at least. Looking at models subjectively as project, the NIDs really like pop out to me because there's just so many fun things there. And I've already painted a couple of NIDs. You've seen I've got my Hive Fleet Metallicus kicking around the house. And yeah, I think this would just work. I just want to paint the NIDs. They look fun. And this one particularly, it was between this and the Norn Queen?
Norn Queen. Yeah.
That's got a couple of build variants on it. I really liked that as well.
So.
And the Neuranthrope, claw-headed one.
Yeah.
I really liked that as well. And these kind of they all vied for this spot, but this one, because of the pop culture references that I personally pulled out of it, it did it for me. So yeah, that's my number 9.
Cool. No, I really like that. That's a really, really cool explanation as to why. It's not what I thought you would say when I saw that come up when I clicked the link. But yeah. All right. So my number 9, we have got Sister Superior Amalia Novena. I think I'm saying that right. Do you know who I mean?
Click
the link.
Open the link.
It's almost like I did prepare and send some links.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is from the artwork, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much precisely why she's there. It's that early 2000s Warhammer artwork in physical form for me, isn't it? It's not the biggest, it's not the flashiest, but it's just incredibly on theme.
Yeah.
And it takes, I guess, similar to how the feelings I get from Ragnar Blackmane, it's that nostalgia vibe. It takes me back to, being a kid and really falling in love with the artwork and, that gothic nature of it. But yeah, I think when you look at her, she just looks like a unit leader. She isn't like a superhero, but it really leans into that whole martyrdom vibe, that Catholic sense that we've spoken about previously when we've referred to Sisters of Battle or whatever they're called now, Adepta Sororitas. But I think in a lot of ways I prefer character models like this, that I think they tell you more of a story over the big centerpiece, sort of look at me flashy models, because that is quite a simple model. There's a lot of detail in it, but it's not a really flashy pose. I don't know, there's something about it. And it's that artwork come to life element, and it isn't the nicest sculpt in the world by any means, but I think it's just one of them quintessential images of Warhammer for me. Does that make sense?
It does. I think a lot of what you've said there resonates, and this is another model that I looked at and I really like it. I like the artwork that it's based on, and I think there's a lot of detail here. And again, I'm just going to like wax lyrical about it, but it's almost like I used to have a Witchblade poster on my wall when I was a student, and it had a quote on it. Witchblade, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was a comic in the late 90s. And it had the quote that said, "A synergy of woman and weapon in quiet rapport."
Okay.
And I think that's a really good summation of this to me.
Yeah.
Because there's so much about it that just yells hyper femininity, and I really dig it. I mean, I don't think it's overly sexualized.
No, it isn't.
Which I really like.
Yeah, same.
But when you look at her face, you said it's not the best sculpt. I think there is a lot here, because clearly she's got the facial proportions of quite an attractive woman, you would say. And then there's the scarring that's quite evident on her face as well. But the pose, it works that isn't relevant to her. She doesn't care. That's just an aesthetic there.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is echoed by the fact that, I don't know if you noticed, that she's holding the Rosarius in her hand, counting the beads on it. So that quiet contemplation, I think, really works for me. And it's these tiny little details that are a throwover. If I remember, I haven't got a reference for the artwork, but I think she was doing that in the artwork as well. And it works so well. The other thing that I really like about this sculpt, and I don't think this is as reflected on some of the newer sisters, is the build of her. She's not quite as lean and thin and spindly as the newer sisters.
No, she's not. And I think that leans more into what you said. They're not hypersexualized like we have seen in Warhammer of the past. And I think that's why I like it, because she looks tough.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. She's gonna
super
batter you, man.
Yeah, she looks like it would hurt if she hit you.
Oh
know?
yeah.
And I think that's what a sister of battle should look like. They should look mean. They should look tough. Yeah,
Totally.
like she looks like she could put you down.
100%. Yeah. Again, I think one of the things from this, and this is always going to be a recurring theme with me, this is a glorious sculpt with a really simple base that works on so many levels. The paint scheme lets it down because this would be perfect. I can almost imagine just like, you know, Gothic litanies being read to her. She stood there like preparing for battle, like those candles just flickering, light in the armor, catching like the black edges of it and that deep red of the robe. Oh man, it's just, yes. And I need to look up some more paint jobs of this because it's glorious.
Yeah, I think I've not seen a lot of the community paint jobs on this, but I imagine there's some good ones. There's a lot to like about this model. I really like that fleur de lis motif, and I don't know why it's always sort of resonated with me. I don't know if it's because this is a sports reference. You're going to hate this, but it's like the logo of Wakefield Trinity Rugby Club, where I spent a lot of my time in my formative years. You know, so I don't know if maybe that's a link to it, but there's something really classy about it, and they are quite. I almost feel like these are quite separate from a lot of other 40k things. I think that's why they stand out for me.
Okay, yeah. I'm there. I think with the sisters as well. I was trying to explain this to somebody I was chatting with at work about 40k the other day, and they're into Warhammer as well. And I think for me, right now at this point in the setting, the sisters are as close to traditional Warhammer 40k lore and feeling and grit and tone than anything else in that setting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think Space Marines have been overly sanitized, the utilitarian nature of them, even to the point where I know I had the Intercessors as my first pick for this. They've almost been, in most respects, stripped back to the core essence of what a military unit is in a military simulation style game, rather than having all of that religious overtone that I think sells the world to it. Yeah. The sisters still have that level of embellishment.
Yeah.
That kind of drive it forward for me, that unshakable faith in the Emperor. All of those things kind of roll together, and I think the aesthetic of it worked. I would love them to continue pushing that aesthetic. I don't want to see it diluted in any way, shape, or form.
No, I think if you do, they become female Space Marines.
Yeah.
Don't they? And that's, you know, and I don't feel like they have ever been that. I think that's why I've always had a bit of a, you know, taken a shine into them. But again, I've never painted one, I've never built one, I've never bought any of them. But I think one day it's something I would like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this was a great pick. Really good pick. Well done.
Glad you think so.
Well, I do. Yeah.
So that's over to your number 8.
My number 8 then, yeah. So this is going to be no surprise that I would have a Dark Angel in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at this one because I'm no fan of this, but
okay.
Tell us about it.
Belial Grandmaster. Yeah. Deathwing leader, first captain, I suppose. Specifically with the hooded head. Don't like the non-hooded variant.
No, I agree with
personally.
That. I don't like his hairline.
It looks a bit vampire, doesn't it, with that hairline?
Bit,
it's like 1, 2, 3, fallen. Yeah, but I like this as an update to the classic model. I think this is a lot like Yarrick in some respect. It's similar enough that it pays homage to the original sculpt.
Yeah.
It's upscaled enough that it fits in with everything. The details there. This is one where I'm going on a nostalgia trip with it. So I loved the original. I remember I had it when I was, 13, 14?
Yeah.
And yeah, I adored it. It was kind of like my centerpiece model of my Dark Angels at the time. So other than the derpy metal captain stood there with his power sword and his daft cape that I hated, this was the closest model that I could get to something that really felt like it had presence, had gravitas to it.
Okay.
And I think it's simple enough that it works for me. Would I like to see it more done to it? I think I would. Again, the paint scheme, the color scheme. My Deathwing look significantly different to this. I still have that white motif, but I do them in a much different manner. I still love the dark green. The actual sculpt, though, I like it. I think it's inoffensive.
Yeah.
I think it has a sense of purpose. I like the motion of it. I like him walking forward. There is, I suppose, argument that he is just stood there on a tactical rock, but to me, it actually looks like he's moving forward, and it looks like he's moving forward at the pace that I think Terminators should. Like it's that unstoppable. I'm just going to shoot stuff, and I'm literally a walking tank.
Yeah, I get that.
And I like that feeling. It works for me.
Yeah.
If anything, it's too plain, but
yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly dislike this model. I don't hate it by any means, but I'm surprised it made top 10 personally. But it's your top 10, and you've told me why, so I get that. But I look at this model and I just think it's almost missing something, but I can't tell you what.
Okay.
But again, I'm not a huge fan of the Dark Angels, so maybe that's why. Maybe I don't have that sort of point of reference that you do with the nostalgia.
Yeah,
that might be why.
There was definitely a nostalgia trip here. So the other choice that I did, and I did flip backwards and forwards between these two, was Asmodai.
Yeah.
Now, he recently got an updated sculpt.
He did.
I like it. I have a big old tattoo of Asmodai on my back.
You do?
But as a sculpt, I don't think it works as well. It doesn't have that sense of emotion for me. I really like the wispy vapor trails of Asmodai, but I don't know. It's just not as. It doesn't have that movement that Belial has.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Asmodai model. I know that's not what we're talking about, so I can appreciate why you've picked Belial instead. I get that. If you were wrestling between the two, why you'd go for this one. What I really like is I like the base on him. It is fairly simple, and it's the old tactical rock, but I do like that skeleton, and I like the flames.
It's great, isn't it?
It is.
It just adds something to it.
Yeah.
And I think as well with the Dark Angels specifically, and this is an element that I really like about Belial, is that simplicity that we talked about. I can see the simplicity being almost an analogy for his sense of purpose of hunting down the fallen. They don't need all of the paraphernalia. Yes, they have their faith in the Emperor and the faith in their mission that they need to carry out, repentance, redemption, all of those things. But that plainness, that simplicity, almost plays into their piousness about that.
Yeah.
Which is almost counter to your choice, really, isn't it? With the sisters,
Yeah.
They're quite ornate, they're quite embellished. Yet there's still that sense of like an innate faith, but it's just expressed in a different way. And I think that really, really kind of separates those two styles. And I love that it's got that level of thought into it.
This is more functional,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes it's almost like you see it like in a lot of monastic orders, which makes me wonder if that was a carryover, because that's exactly what the Dark Angels is supposed to be. It's a monastic order.
True, it's a very sort of plain robe, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
It's unshowy.
Yeah, it's humble.
Yeah, that's the word I was
so
looking for.
there's that there compared to, and I think that difference in approach and aesthetic really does kind of give that balance between them. Because when you look at something like perhaps the Black Templars, totally different, but all of the same thing. But it's these tiny little details. And again, perhaps I'm reading too much into it, but I can appreciate how the designers, both of the sculpt, but also of the lore, have kind of crafted all of that into the narrative so that we can have this sort of conversation and wonder, was that an intentful choice when they were designing it? And that's again something that I love about the hobby. I love about these sculpts, and that's for me Belial. There we go.
Do you know what? I understand it more since you've explained it, so I guess that's kind of why we're doing this. But yeah, I get it a bit more now. So yeah, thanks for that. But yeah, I agree with the hooded one's a lot better. I give you that. So cool. Shall we jump on to my number? What are we on, 8? Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, you are right now. Go on.
So my number 8 is Abram Gaunt from the Gaunt's Ghost box.
Specifically that model? Or
Yeah,
the
well, I
entire
didn't know
box?
if I could have the
Yeah, you
entire
can have a unit, man.
Well,
have a unit.
I've got notes on Gaunt himself. So,
Okay,
I mean,
go for it.
he's the main one in there, isn't he, for me anyway? But yeah, I've got Colonel Commissar Gaunt / the Gaunt's Ghost box itself. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast before, you'll know that I'm a big fan of these guys. I'm a big fan of the novels, but it's very similar to the Ragnar Blackmane notes that I had, because it works for me because it feels like the characters stepped straight out of the novels and onto the tabletop. Again, it's exactly how I pictured him. I think there's always something a little different with Gaunt, because most commissars look like they're going to shoot their own troops, but Gaunt looks like he's about to lead them. You know, there's a big difference between them. You know, I love this unit on the whole. He's probably my favorite character in the 40k setting. Probably,
Really?
yeah, I think
Okay.
lore-wise, yeah. And I still think this one should be a kill team. That's a different discussion. But I think there's so much story in this sculpt. You know, if you just look at his loadout, you know, he's got his chainsword to show us he's a close combat leader, and he's got his bolt pistol to show he's still very much a commissar. It reinforces that dual identity that he has, that he's a colonel commissar. He's not just the officer and the symbol of authority, but he is a troop leader as well. He looks like he'd be, you know, in the trenches on the front lines with his brothers. He's got the same cape on that the Tanith wear. And I think this is what happens when Games Workshop nails character. It doesn't need to be on a big base. It doesn't need to be a big flashy model, like I said before. And that just works for me.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you like this model? I know you're not a guardsman and you don't know too much about Gaunt's Ghost because you've not read them, have you? But
I've not. No.
I guess you probably look at that and you probably think it's fairly just straight down the middle, isn't it?
I think as a unit, I think he's the weakest model in the unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I do like the other models.
Mm.
I particularly enjoyed the chap on the tree.
Yeah.
I think for me that is the best model. I think this one is very underwhelming for me again. I'm not into it. I don't like this model at all specifically.
No? Okay.
I can appreciate why you like it. I know you like these guys in the books, so I totally appreciate that. But yeah, I think that's just an easy miss.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not into the model at all. But the other ones, I think genuinely all of the other ones are really, really good looking sculpts. Really cool. It's just him specifically. Yeah. I'd like to see him redone. I think perhaps considering how prevalent he is in the setting and how much love, like yourself, people have for these guys. I think it's a model that they could do better and should have better representation in terms of sculpting.
Okay.
Is this an older kit? It's not that old, is it?
No, I mean it is. There is an older version than this.
Is there?
I think I want to say maybe 2015.
Oh, right. Okay. So
I might be way off the mark, actually. I'm not sure. I keep forgetting it's 2026. So it might not be that old, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. Truth be told, off the top of my head. It's not the oldest version. There was a metal version a long time ago.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there was metal Gaunt's Ghosts a long time ago. But yeah, you can still see them on eBay going for a ridiculous amount of money. But yeah, I don't know how old it is. But this is an updated version. I mean, I get what you're saying. I think if you look at that on face value, it isn't very striking, and there's not a lot that sets that apart at face value. But I think for me, because it's got that weight of the lore behind it, and it's exactly how I picture him, that's why he's cracked my top 10. And apologies if you can hear my dog barking in the other room.
Yeah, no, it's fair. So it's a fair point. I think as a group, I think him and the guy, is that an autocannon? I want to say it's an autocannon.
Yeah, it is.
I think him and the guy with the autocannon.
Bragg.
Well, you would do if your autocannon was that big. I think those two, the poses don't work with the other ones. All of the other ones are quite contemplative, quite stoic. And those two, like the dude with the autocannon, Bragg, is just like giving it big clicks with
that's the point. His nickname is Try Again Bragg because he always misses. And he's meant to be bigger than the rest of them as well.
Fair. I mean, he does look bigger. What am I trying to say? For me, again, I don't know anything about them lore-wise, so you've just put me right on that one. But I think in terms of the group aesthetic, I would have preferred a more stoic pose to fit in. And I think him being a commissar but being a combat commissar, whatever, Colonel Commissar, I kind of think it works, but I would have liked to seen him a little bit more dynamic. I think, I don't know as well. And the quality of his sculpt compared to the other ones just doesn't look.
If you look behind you, you can see it in real life.
I'll take a butcher's.
I have converted him though. I think we discussed that on a previous podcast. I mean, very minimal conversion where I turned him into Caiaphas Cain. But yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look at it, you can.
I will on the shelf have a butcher's.
Yeah, but I think again, I don't think this paint job does the sculpt justice.
Agreed.
I think when you look at it in the flesh, it does look totally different, and it does have this makes it look almost small. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah,
it looks small, but he isn't in the slightest. You know, he's meant to be tall and he's meant to be slim, but this model kind of diminishes that a little bit, you know, on the pictures. But yeah, I'll show you it in real life when we break up, you know, afterwards, and it might give you a different perspective on it.
I think much like Yarrick looks like M. Bison, this gentleman gone looks like the character that M. Bison was inspired by in Doomed Megalopolis.
Who was that?
I can't remember the character's name. So the anime Doomed Megalopolis, the bad guy in that looks exactly like M. Bison. He looks like M. Bison because M. Bison was
based on him.
And Gaunt's build is way more similar to him.
More slight.
Especially with the cape flowing in the direction. He stood on top of a building on the front of the anime with his arms crossed with white gloves on and stuff. I'm just like, it's that guy that Will likes.
I think it's a difficult one to try and convey this unit to somebody that hasn't read the novels. And I mean that in the least patronizing way possible because, yeah, you're right. Bragg looks different because he doesn't look as contemplative and as stealthy as the other guys, but that's the point. He's not supposed to. The rest of them are meant to be stealthy, you know, where they're hiding in the trees. They've got their hoods up or, you know, they're stood with their knives as if they're being quiet. And then Gaunt's there sort of shouting, pointing his gun with the chainsaw because the whole point is he is the first one over the trenches. He's always the first one leading everyone else. And that tells that story for me. So, yeah, it's hard to... I mean, I can't really summarize the entire Sabbath Worlds Crusade from their perspective in one go. I mean, I'd be here for hours if I did, much like the time where I tried to explain the Metal Gear saga in one night for you. But, yeah, for me, it works. And I don't, maybe it would be different if you had read them. I'm not telling you to do so because I don't think you'd enjoy them. But I think, yeah, my point of reference to them novels is why it works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
But yeah, that's my number, what was that, 8?
8.
Yeah. So should we jump onto your number 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. What we got? Let's open the link.
Kill Team Inquisitorial Agents for me.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
I love these. And I don't have a specific one that I love. Again, this comes back. So, quick caveat, don't like opaque schemes, think the poo.
That's a running theme, isn't it?
Not for me yet, but other than that, really, really, really like these. When they first came out, I was in two minds, and I think I've kind of matured in my taste of what I'm expecting from the universe now.
Okay.
I think I've, at the ripe old age of 46, I think I've solidified my view of what I want out of the setting and how I can enable myself to be able to represent that in my own hobby. And this is one of the few model ranges, teams, whatever you want to call this.
Kill team.
I mean, it is a kill team, yeah.
I know what you mean.
I don't think it works as a kill team, but that's by the by. I'm not looking at their utility in the game. What I'm talking about specifically is the sculpt. This, again, much like your choice of the sisters, works for what it is. This represents various facets of the Imperial cult.
Yeah, the Imperial Creed and the religion side of thing.
All of the awfulness, the absolute dire situation that this universe is set in that we enjoy so much. This is perfect for me. This is just grim and dark, and these can be made to look like just degenerates, but doing so under the best intentions that they have It's great. I mean, we've got like the sister of Battle, the disgraced one. I'm assuming she's disgraced or something like that. I mean, other than her like massive tricep. I mean, she is doing dips for days, man.
Did not see that until you said it.
With her massive chainsaw, you've got like the servitor there, which are one of the most like abhorrent things in the 40k universe. If you know about servers, it's just that's messed up.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, this auto scribe kind of guy, and this just the build options and everything are just so interesting. And in fact, if you're looking at this on the 40, if you got this open on the 40k website, right? So on the left hand side, scroll down to some of the pictures, and there's one where there's a gentleman with a shotgun. Let me show you the specific picture.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Keith from The Prodigy.
Very much so.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. He's a fire starter. He's a twisted fire starter.
Yeah, I can't unsee that now.
Right? I mean, it's great. These, with the right paint scheme on, just scream 40k to me. Not just 40k, they scream Necromunda to me. They scream the entire universe. Everything, every facet of the Imperium that I can put a finger on is represented here. But when I hear you say, there's no Space Marines, and I think this is one of those things that really works. It's like akin to Superman. You know, like the best Superman stories are the stories that don't have Superman in them because he's inherently overpowered. Yeah. It's like the stories about Superman that are great are about the people that surround Superman, how that impacts their lives. And this is the same thing. These are like mostly normal humans, slightly augmented, but nowhere near to the level that Astartes are. They're not these superhuman war machines that are functionally immortal in a lot of respects that just cannot have anything done to them. These are people that have feelings, that can die, that have families, that have faith, and they live day to day, probably like so meagerly, and it's such an awful existence that it's amazing how they've captured that in these sculpts. And that's why I chose these. Every single facet of it, even the servo skull, even when you're dead, you're made use of it to serve a purpose. And that is such a vile proposition that I absolutely love it. And that's just all packaged into this one box of Warhammer happiness that's vile and disgusting and degenerate and all of these things. And I want them. I want them a lot.
I mean, I love the enthusiasm, but I don't get it. I do not like this kit in the slightest. I feel like this is the most AOS looking kit from 40k you could possibly get. I don't understand the love for this personally. It's just not for me. I think the sculpts look a little bit outdated.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think they look a bit derpy. Again, it might be down to the paint job and it might be down to the lighting on the photos. Yeah, I can't get behind it in the way that you have, but I really enjoyed your explanation as to why you do like it, but I don't see it personally.
And that is, again, it's another one of the points, isn't it? This is, look at all of the things that you said about Gaunt's Ghost and then me about this. This is exactly why I enjoy talking to you about stuff, because we can have completely opposing views on the same thing. I think that's absolutely fine.
I feel like if this was executed differently, I might like it, but I think there's something about the way that a lot of them are posed where it just looks a little bit, I don't know, they just don't look very unique. Like the guy with holding the book with his pistol held up. Mm-hmm. I feel like that pose has been done a million times. The sister with the chainsaw looks too compact. Like there isn't a dynamism there. You know, I feel like that chainsaw should be maybe over the head or at an angle, to suggest that it's being swung. But it just looks like it's being held a little bit, I don't know, too close.
I think that's done intentfully. Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right to compare this to some AOS sculpts. Specifically, I'm thinking like the Reclusians.
Yeah, I was thinking like a Jelson Darrick kind of thing, the Witch Hunter vibes.
And I think that is done because of what they're supposed to be. I think so. The way that I read this, and I don't know anything about this specific kill team, I'm going purely off of aesthetics and what the sculpts are conveying to me in terms of narrative. it feels to me like it's almost like a procession, and that pose. If you notice, they're all very upright. They've all got this, it's almost like they're walking forward with like, almost like there's litanies playing in their head. They're being directed to do something. It perhaps I'm getting. It sounds like I'm wine tasting. I'm getting vibes of almost like a sleeper cell kind of situation, that they were just, I don't know, making bread or something, or I don't know, teaching children in the underhive, and like a keyword activates them, and then they're just walking forward with this like religious zeal, that they're almost like automatons, just
divine
going
purpose
about it.
kind of thing.
Yeah. So like the sword being held in that way is actually quite intimidating, that she's doing almost all like against her will.
Yeah. Okay.
But so I think as it works in that respect, but I think that is, again, something that I'm getting out of it, not necessarily something that was an intentful as they were designing them, but it's how I'm reading it in and kind of relating it to my understanding of the lore. But I can totally get why you wouldn't be overly into them. The dude with the gun pose, yeah, I get that. It's been done a million times, but
yeah, well, each to their own, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, your explanation makes sense as to why you do like them. It's just, I just, something about them for me. It's not there. But I think this is going to be similar to my next pick, actually, because I'm pretty sure you don't like this one.
I've just seen what it is. Go for it.
So coming in at number 7 for me is Cypher.
Cypher.
The model built around mystery. This one's a little different from my last ones, because I keep going on about models sort of telling you a story and telling you exactly who they are. Cypher tells you absolutely nothing, does he? I mean, he looks like he knows something you don't, and he's not going to tell you, but...
I mean, he literally does.
Yeah, but I think he stands out for me because he's understated. His sculpt is understated. He looks still almost casual. I think his dual pistols give him a really cool sort of Western gunslinger vibe, which I quite like, and I know you don't at the same time. I think it's a simple silhouette with a strong sense of identity. And I think this one was always going to be contentious because you are a Dark Angels fan as well.
Right.
But, I suppose a mini little hot take for me here is I think Cypher in himself as a character is more interesting than most of the Primarchs. But
Agreed.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think, though, if we're looking at this from a hobby perspective, I'd really like to paint Cypher one day. I think his dark robes and his subtle details, coupled with minimal but a kind of effective palette, would be a really fun challenge. I think it's more about tone and mood and atmosphere than a flashy paint job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that appeals to me a little bit more. I've tried to make him look like he can be in the shadows a little bit more, like he's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
I feel like you're coming from it.
Yeah, I think I remember when this model came back out, because I was kind of out of the hobby, as such, out of the physical hobby, but I was keeping up to date with, the lore and things like that. And I was really excited when this came out, because it gave me this, there's a new Cypher model. What's happening with Cypher in the lore? Is something finally going to happen? And it didn't really, did it? But, we always get drip-fed little bits about Cypher here and there, don't we? And there's always a sense of excitement when he's mentioned. And, yeah, that model, it brings back the evocative feelings of, when I first learned about him, having to find out every tiny little mention about him to see where he was, what he's been doing, what his plans might be. And I still get that to this day. And I think that's why he deserves to be in my top 10, really.
I'm surprised that this is
Yeah.
theory. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever really spoken about
I didn't
Cypher,
even know
have we?
you knew Cypher was, to be honest.
How dare you?
I mean, why would you? It's an interesting one. The character I really like is Escaped,
Escaped.
Yeah, Escaped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Rock, but when Vashtor got his invasion of the Rock on, he's out. He's not there anymore.
Ooh. Where is he then? Where's he going?
We don't know where he's at. I reckon
he's on his way to...
well, that's where the story ended, wasn't it?
He's on his way to Terror, isn't he? Allegedly.
Where I don't know if you read that.
I don't know. Did I make it up?
I reckon he's on his way to the Lion.
Yeah.
He knows the Lion's back now from the interrogation.
Yeah.
On that, so because he was getting a bit angsty that they were fallen, kicking about.
Yeah, because the Lion sort of collected them, isn't he? And forgiving them effectively. Yeah.
So I reckon we'll see a updated Cypher sculpt fairly soon.
Okay.
I reckon that he might be the character that drops with 11th edition Dark Angel supplement.
Oh, okay.
And I reckon also, so these I suppose this is a hot take, or this is a prediction. I reckon that what's hopefully changing the sculpt is everything. Please, Games Workshop, if you redo Cypher, don't make him look like this. Pretty certain that he's not going to have the sword because he's going to be giving it back to the lion, and I think that might have something to do with the fight between a lion and a wolf, maybe.
Oh, we can but hope, can't we?
But yeah, so
what don't you like about the skull?
everything. It's poo.
Really?
But yeah, I think it's crap.
Okay.
Yeah, I have nothing positive to say about this. This is.
I just love the armor. I
This is-
love that sort of baroque power armor. I love that wacky bolt pistol.
It's a flamer.
Is it?
It's literally got an existence.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
Like a flame pistol
Yes,
thing.
sorry, it is. You're right, but I love the backpack. I'm a big fan of the Heresy era stuff, and this is like this is a more modern take on that, I guess. I mean, I suppose this model isn't modern in the grand scheme of things now, is it? But
I think this is for me. I really struggle with the scale of Firstborn, and he has to be Firstborn. He can't be Primaris.
no.
So I'm guessing the next version will either cross the Rubicon or they're going to upscale him.
Well, yeah, I think upscale. I don't know. I'm conflicted with a lot of this lore about Firstborn versus Primaris, because you look at some of the Space Wolf dudes that haven't crossed the Primaris, but they've been upscaled, and I think they're kind of doing away with the terms Firstborn and Primaris to a certain extent.
Yeah, they are, definitely.
So,
well, the keyword's gone on it, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be cool if Cypher, for whatever reason, did end up being Primaris. Primaris Cypher would be cool, but
it would be very cool.
Don't know how you'd do that in a lore term, but I'd be excited to hear about it.
Same, absolutely. I think he's a really interesting character. I think he's one of the most interesting characters in Dark Angel lore. I like the guy a lot.
Just not this sculpt?
No, I think this is a hard miss for Games Workshop.
Really?
I think a lot of it perhaps comes down to when it was released and the technology that was used. I think it's really clunky, really badly sculpted. The cape, just everything about his face looks atrocious. This isn't my Cypher. This isn't how I picture him at all.
No?
It's like, yeah, the armor look is fine, but the actual sculpt, I'm not even remotely a fan. I really dislike it. Actively dislike it. This is why I don't own it. I've got a proxy of it that looks way better for this to me.
Oh, you have to show me that one day.
Yeah. I can run you a copy off. But yeah,
not for
even
you.
the sword, it's just like, no.
The sword looks a bit daft. I'll give
But
you
it's
that.
supposed to be massive because it's a Primax sword.
Yeah, but I mean, I really like it. It's we've got two very different opinions on that model, haven't we?
We do.
Yeah.
I think the execution of the actual pose, what he's doing, pulling the thing, I think it's like the Kelamorph from when we spoke last time, the GC occult one.
Yes,
It's quite similar to that in terms of what he's doing. But I think that pulls it off way better, way better if you took that sculpt with this character, removed an arm, obviously.
Yeah.
That would be way better executed than this. But again, I can't be too critical because I think this is a function of the technology at the time and the production. So, yeah, whatever. It's not for me. I appreciate that you like it. I'm glad that you do have a Dark Angel on your list as well. But yeah.
That's the only one you're going to get.
I can't get behind this, and the paint job is just, again, it's not for me.
We'll leave that one there then.
Yeah.
We'll agree to disagree, but
we will. And again, but that's fine. I think these are more interesting than the AOS ones.
Yeah. Well, go on. What's your number 6 then?
I think you knew this was going to come into it, but I don't think this is a centerpiece model. You may.
I think there's arguments either way, but what are we looking at?
The Satan Shard of the Nightbringer.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that it's in your top 10, to be honest, because I know when that came out how excited you got and when we were looking at it. But yeah. Tell us why you like it.
Well, I mean, go back and listen to the episode.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but
this is a fantastic sculpt. I mean, this is completely the opposite of what we just talked about with Cypher. This is literally polar opposites. This is a function of modern sculpting and production processes to allow them to do something that looks so fragile, so lithe, so dynamic. Fragile. But this looks absolutely amazing. The only thing that I'm not a massive fan of on this is the actual face. But again, I've not painted it myself, so I don't know if, it's Morbius kind of like look of the face. It just looks a little bit off from the rest of it. But overall, I think this is just such a beautiful sculpt. The sense of movement that I get from it, just the paint job. This is Games Workshop like doing a good paint job. It's not grimdark, but it sells it. It's just, oh mate, let me look at it. This can't not make you smile. You're looking at this and you're just like, oh, that is a damn sexy miniature. Look at those scarabs. Oh yeah, that cape is. I'm there for it. It's a butter zone. Is this in it? This is like somebody's got some like thick crusty bread, lathered it in butter, and you're just going in for a right bite, and it's like, yeah, it's salty, it's tasty, it's amazing, it's filling. That's what this model is my dude.
That's an interesting analogy, but yeah, I get it. It's a beautiful model. It's almost terrifying. There's so much conveyed in this sculpt. It's one of the best I've seen. Didn't make my top 10. I'll give you that as a spoiler now. I did think about it, but I was pretty sure you were going to put it in. I think it's probably because I don't know enough about him in the lore, to be honest, and I think that's why I don't have a connection to it in that sense, apart from at face value. But yeah, I mean, I really like this because in AOS I'm a Nighthaunt guy, and I see a lot of similar aspects from the Nighthaunt in this. And I know that might sound really strange, but if you think it's a spectral hooded figure, and there's quite a lot of wispy, almost tendrils of the cloak coming out, and there's a big scythe. It looks like death.
It looks 100%.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean. The historical, mythological death himself. That's what it looks like.
Full on Grim Reaper vibe.
Yeah, Grim Reaper. Yeah, that's it. And that appeals to me as a Nighthaunt player. But yeah, I mean, I'm no fan of Necrons, but this guy just looks like something completely separate from it. And yeah, it's a brilliant model.
I don't think he's a neck wrong. I think he's a neck right.
Well, you know what I mean. He's part of the Necron range. I'm going to gloss over that, by the way.
What?
Neck right. Not your best.
Neck beard. I like.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a fantastic sculpt. It's I mean, when this came out last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it leaked last year, didn't it?
How big is it? I've not seen it in real life.
I think it's fairly tall.
Yeah.
It's similar to Void Dragon
Did we see
in height.
I think was it out before we went to Warhammer World? Because I don't remember seeing it then. No. Maybe we will when we go.
I think it had leaked by that point, but I don't think it was on display.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I would have remembered it. And I would like to see it in the flesh because I haven't. But I mean, I think it's only a matter of time before you own this.
I think you might be right, my friend.
Yeah, but no, I get it. I mean, I agree with everything you've said. It's a fantastic model. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find technically find a sculpt, quote unquote, better than that. I would say. I would be terrified of snapping it though.
Yeah,
because it looks flimsy. I'm sure it isn't, but the connection points at the base look like they'd be fairly solid. But I'm an oaf. And I'm really clumsy, and I could imagine knocking that over quite a lot.
I'm just so there for this one, but yeah, I think we've said quite enough about this one. It's an easy model to love.
It is, yeah. I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't like that.
So for your number 6, then,
where number 6. So if you take a look, I have also picked the Death Leaper.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, so I'm surprised. I didn't think we'd have any crossover.
I didn't think we'd have any crossover, and I'm surprised that it's a Nid.
Yeah, I mean, bit of a wild card for me. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a huge Tyranid fan on the whole, but I feel like this model really captures what the Tyranid vibe should be to me in one sculpt. I think I like it in different ways to you. I really liked what you said about it, but the Death Leaper isn't just a Tyranid. To me, it's what people fear that the Tyranids are. This guy just looks dangerous, doesn't he? He looks like something that's picked a target and the target doesn't even know it yet. I think it's a terrifying concept in the 40k universe. This is like a hunter on the loose, keeping commanders awake at night, and it really sells that terror aspect to me, and we've spoke about this quite a lot, that we like that fear element in AOS and in 40k. This is a hunter, a stalker. It's almost a psychological weapon in that sense for me. you can look at it and you don't need rules or law to tell you that this is dangerous. Do you know what I mean?
I completely get where you're coming from. I think that's a really eloquent way of putting it, man.
It's a cool model. I mean, I could just look at this for hours, and I did when I was picking my top 10. But yeah, I think we look at this in a very different way. I mean, you know, you had a point of reference from what was the film you mentioned? Sorry, can't remember.
Many. Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, there was one.
Predator.
There was one. I forgot.
Mimic.
Yeah, Mimic. That's the one. Yeah, but yeah, to me, I'm looking at this more from if you imagine this, the way it's posed, it could be standing on, you know, the outcrop of a ruined building in the shadows, and you look up and it's there, and it's the last thing you ever see. You know, that's a terrifying notion, isn't it?
Dude, it's like you say. I mean, it's that whole predatory vibe, isn't it? I mean, the clues in the name as well, Death Leaper. I mean, it's that predatory. It's like a puma in a nightclub on student night, isn't it? You know. It's
what?
it's going out there with an intent to like hunt its prey, and it is not going.
Oh, do you mean cougar?
No, puma.
I thought it was cougars.
It is a cougar. A cougar, but like a puma is after a cougar.
Oh right, that's like leveled up.
Yeah. It's like a grand puma.
Oh, do you want to know a fun fact about me from my early 20s? My nickname was Cougar Bait because they always gravitated towards me on a night out, and I'm not sure why.
Wow.
The mums liked me for some reason.
Well, a cougar would be the grandmothers. that's
yeah.
So yeah, the that's tickled your fancy, hasn't it?
I've not heard that in a long time. That's all. But yeah, Death Leaper. Yeah, it's just such an evil, aggressive, terrifying looking model. Like that's what Tyranid should be to me. I don't really think there's anything else I can say about it.
I do love the sculpt. I really, really, really do. I need to buy it. I think you're right that, you know, the base is the one thing about the specific model I don't like. It doesn't even feel like it fits right on the base.
No.
But I guess that's because of the hoof.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know what I'm expecting. I'm almost like Do you know what? Actually,
Go on.
with the morphology thing of them all, it almost feels like the hoof for this is a hindrance. That feels like that is bad design.
Yeah. It looks like it should slip off. You know, its right hoof shouldn't be. Yeah, it looks like it would be slipping off whatever it is that it stood on, that pipe.
Because I'm thinking as well. So, oh man, this is nerdy. This is super, super nerdy.
I mean,
so like
we know we're nerds.
The Death Leaper. So straight away you're thinking it's jumping.
Yeah,
jumping up and down. It's like, and it's great. It's got the legs that would give it the actual mechanical motion.
Yeah.
But if you think about how a hoof would work, it wouldn't spread the weight to allow it to give it the push off that you would expect. So you'd expect something like with more like, well, think about frog toes, how they work and how they push themselves.
I was immediately thinking like a Gungan from Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
Foot.
That would work way better than hoofs. Cloven, the cloven feet do not work. This might. I mean, you know, if somebody asked you the question, what is your favorite even-toed ungulate? You know, you would be viably correct to say a Death Leaper.
I don't think anybody has uttered that sentence in the history of the universe before. So there's
what's your favorite even-toed ungulate?
Yeah.
Beard. It is both mighty and thick.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about the Death Leaper. You've kind of
I'm surprised that we've bonded over
for different reasons over the same.
Yeah, over a Death Leaper.
Yeah. So we're coming to the halfway point now.
I think we are. Yeah. I need to go back to my list.
Yeah.
Please hold, Will.
I am holding.
Good. You're in an holding pattern, and I'm going to go back to mine, and I am. Oh, this is another good one. I thought. Okay, so my number 5 is another kill team.
Another kill team.
I believe it's kill team anyway. Oh, it was. No, it's not. It's not kill team. Is it kill team? I think it is a kill team. It's the accursed cultists. It doesn't matter if it's kill team or not.
I don't think it is. Is it? Might be.
I think you can have them as because they transformed out from the normal cultists into this to go through the phases. Anyway, by the by, it doesn't matter whether they're a kill team or not. I love these because it's body horror, and this is just these are great. When you take away the Games Workshop paint scheme, I think these are some of the best sculpts that G-Dubs have done.
Do you really?
Yeah, man. I think these are great. These are like what demonic
Hard pass for me.
Sculpts should look like, really?
Yeah, I think I don't like it. I don't like the sculpt whatsoever. I think they look a bit daft and comical. But maybe it's the paint job. But I think we've got very different. We like very different things within the hobby, don't we? I can see why you like them, and I think you look at this with a different pair of eyes to me, because I know you would do something wildly different with the paint job. I've known you long enough to have a good idea of how you would paint them. And I think they would, that would sell me a little bit more. But I kind of find it hard to look past the stock paint job sometimes. But yeah. Anyway, this is your pick. You tell me.
Well, it's just that. It's that body horror aspect of it. I think this is what a demonic incursion would more likely look like, rather than just, Chaos Space Marines with a bit of mutation here, bit of mutation there. I think this is like more of a grim reality of what it would be like, distended joints, skin ripping and tearing, like almost like this amalgamation of like just forms fused together, like just a cancerous, grotesque mass.
I like. There's a couple of bits that I really do like, but on the whole, it's not enough to sell me. Apologies if you guys can hear this. I'm just turning my laptop around. I don't know how to describe that, but it's whatever's coming out of that guy's back.
It's like his arm being ripped apart, isn't it?
I like that. But apart from that, the rest of it appears quite comical to me.
I think I get the feeling. So I think these came out alongside the Inquisitorial Agents, actually, in the Ashes of Faith box.
So they were a foil for each other, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think they all came in that, and they came with the previous forms. So are the three forms in this? Is the cultists, and then they partly turned cultists, and then these full on like wow, scary.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
And I get the feeling that these are quite old. Just looking at the style of them, I mean, when you look at the teeth on some of them, it's quite soft and rounded is the detail compared to, again, I mean, I know I always go back to using Soulblight as an example of like the fantastic quality of the sculpt, but when you look at something more recent like that, there's a lot of sharp, realistic detail, and I totally get what you're saying about it being derpy and looking a bit comical. Again, I don't think Games Workshop's paint scheme works with these, and I can totally get why. If they went OTT on this, it's not going to hit mass market, is it? And I think these are quite specialist as well in terms of like who they would appeal to. Yeah. And I think it is, as you said, it's people like myself that like this sort of body horror aspect. For me, it kind of like straight away I was getting visions of Event Horizon, the film, if you've ever seen that. Like perhaps Unchained Heart, Hellraiser, that kind of, Dante's Inferno, all of those kind of common representations of hellish possession and just like mutilation.
I feel like they've just kind of done that, but it's still a little diluted because it's to appeal to the masses. And it's to sell it to kids as well as adults. And I think
it can't be too.
Exactly. And I think I find it hard to see past that, because a cursed cultist to me would be more horrific, and it looks like they've kind of started and then reined themselves in a little bit, and it has to be a bit sort of rated 12 rather than rated 18.
Totally.
Idea.
Totally.
But I see I mean, from a potential point of view, I get why you picked that, but I find it very hard to look past what I'm immediately looking at, where I think you're better at looking past it than I am. I can
totally appreciate where you're coming from, mate. And again, I think what I looked at with these and why I've just not gone with Space Marines, which is what I thought I was going to do. And I was conscious of really trying to look past my love for Space Marines and look at what was more representative to me of the universe and what I enjoy about the universe and how that was physically communicated to me through the sculpts, which is kind of like the lens that I look through this entire list building process through. This is kind of the most horrific representation of chaos worship that I could find. I don't think necessarily, I think that the Nurgle Death Guard sculpts are all quite derpy. I think the Khorne ones also look really comedic. There's probably only like the Tzeentchian ones that actually look more representative of what I would imagine like in coalescence of demonic energy to look like.
A lot of feathers though.
There is a lot of feathers. The Slanesh stuff, I again, I find over designed and too pincery and crabby to be demonic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get that each of the aspects of chaos has its own aesthetic that they need to separate them out. Whereas I think this has more of that almost like Judo-Christian feeling, especially for kind of like Old Testament feeling of demons and angels and how that's representative.
That's a very good point, actually.
So that's kind of what I was going for there. And I think that's why I kind of referenced Event Horizon and Hellraiser, Unchained Art as almost like a point of reference for you as to why I would like those.
Yeah.
But I think it's that removal from the Chaos Pantheon and more of an embodiment of demonic chaos.
Yeah. Okay.
And entropy and evil. That's the word I'm looking for. So for me, I think this is an interesting segue, I think, from the conversation. This is why I like doing these things. The Chaos Pantheon, I think, has a very purposeful meaning in 40K, and it's not inherently evil.
Yeah.
And I know, I think we've talked about those ideas, haven't we, of good and evil and the imparity in it. But
I don't know if we spoke about that on the podcast, because I remember we had a discussion at length on the drive back from Warhammer World about that.
It may not have been on the podcast. We should probably do that.
I think we've said that we do need to have that discussion.
Yeah, I think we should. But I think these sculpts, for me, I feel are more representative of evil.
I'd say biblical evil. Now that you said that Judeo-Christian idea, I get that now. Yeah. Okay.
So it's that route, that route, and I can almost picture some of these, and this is going to get quite dark, but these being the kind of people that would have been rapists or child murderers, or they're doing something, they don't know why they're doing it, and they're worshipping these, and that's where this is coming from. It's not an alignment to a specific deity, it's just that these people were nasty people, and that's let them be a conduit for some primordial energy to come in that is the manifestation of evil as part of the society that they're in.
Yeah.
So that's what that is for me. And again, I think that is part of what makes up the 40K universe. Not wholly, but I think that is there as an overtone. And I think that's almost as a separate thing to the warp chaos gods.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, so I think these are great.
So like a general evil rather than the four specific.
Yeah,
points
like
of chaos.
satanic evil.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that. Okay, yeah, that puts it in a bit of a different light for me.
Cool.
I like that. That's really interesting.
I enjoyed that.
I did.
Sorry if it triggered anybody with some of the graphic representations of what I was trying to say there, but I get excited. I can't help it. So it's not like I write stuff down. I just go with what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that one was off the dome, wasn't it?
Right.
So
on to you, my friend.
Yeah, so at number 5 for me, we've got the Scarab Occult Terminators.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's, I mean, you don't like these, do you? I've just seen the look on your face. But yeah, I mean, these feathers are my number 5. I like these because I feel like if I had to show somebody one unit to explain the Thousand Suns, this would be the one.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just think they're instantly recognizable. They've got their, Egyptian style accents. They look very regal. They look very arcane, very ceremonial. And they're not just Chaos Terminators that are painted blue. They're their own thing. And I really like that. Lore-wise with these boys, you're not fighting soldiers. You're fighting haunted suits of armor. And these sculpts really sell that to me. They're not berserkers. They're kind of like librarians that are turned into tanks. And I think when we see Games Workshop fully commit to a faction's identity like this, I really like it. I'm really here for it. And, I look at these and I think if I were going to paint them, I'd go down the pre-heresy or heresy era, I should say, color scheme. That red and gold and white. I feel like that would make them really pop. But yeah, big fan of these guys. I think there's a lot to like for me about these. It's almost like cataphracty armor pattern that I really like, but kind of given a bit of a twist. So it's got that heart back to the heresy era for me, which is, just thinking out loud, probably why I like them so much. But yeah, I just think they've got something that is truly unique about them. And I think that's why they stand out enough to be as high in my top 10 as they are. What do you think?
I think that's it. I mean, you've made me look at them in a different light, to be fair. Do I like them?
You don't have to like them.
I don't know. I think part of it is the color palette. I don't like the yellow and blue striping.
No, because you're not a Leeds United guy. You're from Bradford, aren't you?
I'm not a football guy from anywhere.
Sport guy. Sorry, that's a very Yorkshire thing that we just said. But yeah, I know what you mean. I'm not a big fan of that. It's almost teal, that blue, and that's not the blue I imagine Thousand Suns. You know, like I said, I'd be painting them in the Heresy era colour scheme. But I really like, you know, the little details with the scarab. I'm not usually a big fan of the Eye of Horus on anything, but you've got the eye on the, I don't know what you call that raised bit over the head, over the helmet, but it's on there, isn't it? But I don't know, there's something about these guys that they're very ornate, they're very sort of mystical, but they look arcane.
I want to say cartouche.
Cartouche.
But is that the beard?
I don't know. That's a really cool word. I really like that. I'm not big on my Egyptian stuff, but yeah, I just think there's something about them that sets them apart, and like I said, instantly recognizable. You know what these guys are, don't you? And they look menacing in an almost beautiful way.
Oh wow, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a rotundness to them, a softness, a Rubenesque kind of feel to them compared to some of the other Terminators.
Do you think?
Yeah. There's definitely
squishy.
I think it's kind of that. I hadn't put two and two together before, but you hit the nail on the head when you said the pattern of that Terminator armor reminds me quite strikingly of the Contemptor.
Very much so. It's like a mini Contemptor Dread.
Yeah.
And that is my favorite pattern of Dreadnought, which I didn't put together until you said it.
So I kind of get that, and I think again this is a very distinctive aesthetic that mixes the standard 40k look, 30k look, I suppose, with what it's supposed to be. I think sometimes the Egyptian overtones are too much, and they lean too far into that. But again, I think that can be rectified with a paint scheme. So I'm trying to look past that, and I enjoy this, like the glyphs around the armor in certain places. I like that they're chaotic, but not overly corrupted.
Yeah.
I like the tragedy of the story.
Yeah.
In that, you know, these are bad, but you know, a lot of them might have been against their will. Yeah. I think that's it's fair to say that
there is an element of tragedy to the Thousand Suns, isn't there? I think, again, maybe it is just, maybe this is probably there because it's got that nostalgia for me again, because I really liked the what were the two offsetting novels in the Horus Heresy books? There was The Burning of Prospero and is it Thousand Suns?
Yeah.
Is it 1,000 Suns? Them two that are set from the perspective of the Space Wolves and the Thousand Suns. Two of my favourite novels in that series. You know, seeing it from both sets of eyes, how that, you know, it all went down. Remember when I spent ages looking at Warhammer World of the diorama that somebody had done.
You did. Yeah.
And it's part of that. It's part of that story that I really like. You know, that, you know, the whole tragedy of Magnus, I guess. You know, and this leans into that, and maybe that's why I have such an affinity with them.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, and again, this is your list, so absolutely viable choice, I think. I'm surprised that they've not had an update yet, because these look fairly old.
I think they are. Yeah, I think they are in the grand scheme of things. I mean, maybe we'll get them, but
because at first when I saw the link, I thought it was those that came out quite recently. The ones that we talked about that are just like straight up and down. They're just like, well, they look massive, but they're actually not the
Saturnine ones.
Nah,
no.
I can't remember what
the
they're
ones
called.
with the weird head things.
Yeah, they've got the big missile racks coming out the back, but they're not Saturnine.
Oh, we thinking of something different.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of?
I don't know, because I don't know Thousand Suns. The one with like the jackals heads. Look atrocious.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
Yeah, you do.
With jackals heads.
Yeah, they got jackals heads. I'm sure they got jackals heads. Please hold. Talk to the audience while I find it.
While Wayne is furiously typing on the iPad in front of him, I don't know what he's talking about.
He does.
With the jackals heads.
I
Am I going to look a fool here? Specific Thousand Suns models?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like really tall, derpy ones. They came out quite recently.
I'm gonna also have a look.
They're not the Terminators. What they called, this is the best kind of podcasting ever.
This is
They're
live.
called Secretary Robots.
I don't know what you're talking about. How's
Yeah,
this
you do.
gone? How's this slipped?
You
by
didn't.
me?
We've talked about them and looked. There you go. Those. I thought that's what they were when at first.
I mean, I have never seen them before.
We've had a conversation about them, dude.
Have we?
Yeah.
In front of a microphone?
Yeah. We've definitely talked about that.
Proof
like,
or it didn't happen. I mean, they look like Ossiarch Bone Reapers in 40k. They
look-
are incredible.
What? You like those?
Yeah,
What is wrong with you?
I've never seen them before.
I'm going to have a word with your
they-
missus because
are they
there's
brand
something
new?
wrong with you. We need to take you to a doctor's or something, mate.
I've never seen them.
Yeah, these came out like last year, towards the end of last year.
Really?
Between like late summer and now.
I don't know how that one passed by me.
Me neither. Well, you know what? In one respect, you're lucky because you haven't had to like have these in your
love
head.
Them. I need to have a look into these. But anyway, this one's gone way off on a tangent here. I really like them.
Well, I get them now before.
Secretary robots. Is that what they?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. These look daft.
No. I like them. I think they just look, I don't know.
There you go, Thousand Sun Secretary robots.
Anyway, yeah, we've divulged from the point itself there, haven't we? But yeah, I mean Scarab Occult Terminators at number 5 for me.
Right, number 4 for me then.
Number
that isn't Scarab Occult Terminators.
Oh, good choice.
You think?
Yeah, really good choice.
So my number 4 is the Sisters Repentia Squad.
Yeah, good choice.
And again, I think this comes back down to 40k-ness of like how representative sisters are in my own headcanon of Imperial 40k-ness.
Yeah.
Just like how hardcore these women are is just like ridiculous. I think the sculpts are dynamic. They're interesting. It's a complete like 180 from what we talked about earlier. That static, stoic look of just utter faith that the sisters have to this, which is just utter brutalness.
It's just berserker brutality, this, isn't it? Yeah.
100%. Like just the fact that you know, again, it plays into that religious overtone. I think it's clear that it's drawing on like Catholicism as a base to put from this with the whole Repentia vibe of it.
It's very much like reminds me a lot of the Blood Angels Death Company.
Yeah,
It's
it's a similar
that berserk rage. It's all
Yeah.
movement. Yeah, I get it.
It's just unabashed energy there from the get-go. Even like this Sister Superior with her big bullwhip is just, again,
She looks like she cuts her own fringe. Though.
she has got a bowl haircut and a half, hasn't she? I just think this is really great. I don't think the sculpts are fantastic, but in terms of models, I've got some great proxies of these that have this same level of.
I think you sent me a picture of that before.
Yeah. And it was done by a really great sculptor, and they look bang up to date. I think the only thing with these that I'm not 100% behind is the scale of them.
No?
Some of them just look disproportionate, and I think that again is a function of perhaps not making them too fragile, because they are quite light models. The human scale as well, so you know, and I know that proportionally they are a little bit bigger than your average human would be, just to kind of have that heroic scale. But for some of them, some of the poses don't work 100% for me personally.
Yeah.
But I think as well, one of the things that I've not seen conveyed this well, I don't think in many other models, Ragnar is a really good example of this, how momentum is affected by the weight of what they're carrying.
Yeah.
So the on the Games Workshop website, so we're looking, if you're following, we'll put links in the description for all of this stuff. It's the top left one of them in the main picture. She's swinging the sword forward, but she looks like she's leaning back. Now, if you stood in that pose normally, your center of balance would be over your bum and you'd literally be falling down.
Ass over tits.
But, indeed. But she's bringing the sword forward, bringing her center of gravity forward into the and that's
pulling her along.
That's conveyed in the sculpt. I think that's great. Adding that purity seal and that, so you can actually see the direction of travel of the sword. Again, it's detailed.
Such a small thing, isn't it? But it works.
This is it. This is exactly what I get excited about. It's just like, it doesn't work. Oh, wait a minute. Let me actually take time to consider it and think about it. It does work. And the fact that somebody's gone to that level of detail, the sculptor's gone to that level of detail to put that in, conveying like linear motion on it, is absolutely fantastic. And I don't think that is done enough in any of the 40k stuff. Some of the Assault Marines do it. I think Ragnar kind of tried to do it. But again, I don't think it's done as well as it is with these. Perhaps if his sword was behind him, so he's jumping forward with it, and then he could use his forward momentum to bring it over his head. You're seeing that. The one in the middle here with like the weird gimpish head dress thing on.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. Yeah,
it's got it. And then we can see as well in this same squad where it's not executed particularly well. So the lady to the left of the Sister Superior, that looks like she's not moving. I mean, yeah, it could be the photo angle, so we can't see the angle that she's moving forward. But the sword being over to her right, she should be then leaned over to her left to counterbalance that. So it's like it's going great in some places, and that's what's driving me forward with it compared to in others where it's not. I really like it. The lady with the mechanical leg, how she's like bearing down on the weight because that sword is going to be super heavy. But look at how she's spreading her body weight out. She's got a slight split in her stance, so she's really feeling the weight of that. She ain't going to be able to jump forward with that sword fast now because she's not got the, that explosive movement right there. But I like that she's going to have to ramp up again. It's just, they're all telling stories, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think the weakest model is the Sister Superior. Again, head would have to be swapped for an helmeted one because that's just offensive.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing I can say to disagree with any of that, to be honest. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's a really cool choice.
Thank you.
For a model, for a box that I think is probably severely underrepresented and probably underused a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly made my top 10, actually.
Really?
Yeah, very much so. But I put
wow.
the different sister in instead for that sort of classic vibe, because I think that portrays the sisters for me better than this. But this was my second choice for that spot. So
didn't expect that.
No, me neither, actually. So I feel like we're learning about each other as we go.
Well, this is a new era in his relationship. We've not talked in this much depth, I don't think, about specific 40k units.
We haven't actually. No, that's a very good point.
So on to your number 4 then, Will.
So my number 4, I have gone for the Dark Apostle.
This is a good choice.
Yeah?
Yeah. Strong choice.
Yeah, I mean, the Dark Apostle, it's another traitor or chaos themed entry for me going on the back of the last one. But for me, this is one of the most Warhammery models that GW has ever made for me.
Really?
Yeah, I think if you think my Sister Superior was the sort of Gothic Catholic in space, this is the dark mirrored version, where the Imperium has faith, chaos has fanaticism, but it's dialed into madness. It's the complete opposite, isn't it? This embodies that perfectly for me. In this sculpt, he's clearly this preacher of chaos, spreading dark sermons mid-battle, surrounded by his chanting followers. It tells the story of this dark ceremony that happens in the middle of a battlefield, which is... It's a really cool contrast to like a loyalist chaplain model that looks sort of controlled and stoic and disciplined. This guy looks unhinged, theatrical, and zealous in the complete opposite way. Do you know what I mean?
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you on it, yeah.
You look at a chaplain and that inspires sort of discipline, whereas the Dark Apostle just inspires absolute madness. And I think you really get that from this sculpt.
100%, mate. I can agree. This was on my list.
Yeah. Didn't make it though.
No, because I think I can't disagree with anything that you said, and I think how you worded it, that verbiage was that was really good.
I appreciate that. But I think there's just a lot going on in this, but in the right way. Now, I'm not a fan of overly cluttered models. But I think this is a bit of a wild card for me because there is an awful lot happening in all of these models, but I think it works, and I think that's the point. And maybe it's because I really like the word bearers. This just screams word bearers.
100% word bearers, man.
I think I really want to buy this to build it and paint it, just to have it more than anything. When this came out, I really liked it, and it just, this is what 40K is about for me. You know, similar to how you said it about the your inquisitorial agents. This is almost like the flip side of that for me. You know, you've got your zealots, but on the other side, and you know, you've got some very different looking models to the main one, and it gives you that variety, and it's just very 40K, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. I think. So yeah, I think everything that you said there, I totally agree with. I really like the sculpt, and it was on my list, right? The thing that put me off, and that I then looked at again because it's the legs. And again, this is a scale thing, dude. It comes down to the sculpting. I like the pose. I like everything about it. It's just the size. It looks cartoony, and it is only from the waist down. Also, I'm noticing literally now, just look, I think I might have been wrong when we talked last week or the week before about the mutilators, because it looks like he's got Vashtor on his shin, and I'm pretty certain this model came out way before Vashtor was even a thing.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, it's quite an old one, isn't it, actually?
Yeah, it is. So I do like this model. It was definitely on my list. I love the execution of it. I don't like the paint job again as much. I think also with his little retinue, I love those two guys.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they?
I love the use of I'm really into candles. I'm really into red candles.
Okay.
In like occult, chaosy look. I would perhaps, and I did do this in my own list. I had him and the Master of Possessions, and of the two, I think that it's exactly the same problem with the Master of Possessions, dude. It's a scaling thing. It's the legs. These firstborn Chaos Marines, just the legs.
You're very prejudiced against firstborn.
I am. You know, when I got back into the hobby this time around, the thing that drew me back in was I saw Space Marines. I'm like, they look like I imagined they looked when I was into it. And it was just like, I've just had this couple of years out when Primaris were introduced. And it was at that time, it's like they look, the toys, the models,
it's more the
plastic,
idea,
it looks like in my head, I can make them look how I see them. Where previously that wasn't a thing. And I still can't get past it with this. And it almost feels, I like the Primaris law, man. I like how they've introduced it, but they've also created a crutch that they can't really do that for Chaos. So that we're still going to be stuck for a little while until they figure out how to upscale it without all the neck beards going, whatever. So it's like, screw it. Make them look cool, because this is the kind of thing that can look cool. Just make it a little bit bigger. Let's have that ability to have that dynamic pose. And with this is so close for me. I would have loved to have had this model on there, but it's I can't get past that, man.
Okay.
From the waist down, though, it's gangster. I'm there for it. It's like this guy is like, you know, giving hate speech, and I'm there for that.
From the waist up.
He's like, he's hating the Imperium. All of his like, but it's like, once he becomes less scary when you look at his legs and go, oh, look at your little legs. But yeah, this is a good choice. And again, I think this is one of those things where there's some banging community paint jobs out there. Same with Master of Possessions.
I want to see him as a word bearer.
I was literally going to say that. This does feel like, even though it's generic chaos, it is a word bearer.
Yeah, he needs to be a word bearer.
Absolutely, I think
he would be red.
I think we're aligning with our like chaotic.
We
like
are, aren't we?
Word bearer seems to be what we're going for.
We've got some chaotic alignment here.
I would say that word bearers are the most occulty.
Oh, very much so.
And most evil.
Yeah, they're just.
Are we evil?
Chaos undivided. Are we?
I think we might be.
Possibly.
I did just read Satanic Bible, and I'm like, oh my God.
You did.
Turns out I'm a Satanist. You would have thought. But yeah, I do like this. Do like this a lot. What?
I just don't know where we're going here. Apparently we're evil. You're reading the Satanic Bible.
Well, you're cougar bait. I'm a Satanist.
Well, yeah,
what else we got?
There's a match made in
hell.
Somewhere anyway, yeah.
It's honestly, I'm sure there's some Slanesh thing going on.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe we need to have a discussion about the chaos gods, and maybe it'll give us a bit more about our personalities, and maybe it'll tell us something.
Who knows?
Maybe we'll have some sort of revelation. Maybe we'll have an epiphany. Who knows?
Oh, that's a good word.
We'll get there at some point, won't we? Epiphany.
Do you know what? I can imagine a really chavvy estate girl name being Epiphany. Oh, come here, I have Epiphany.
Remind me to never let you have Haribo and coffee before we record a podcast again. But I totally get that.
Good old Epiphany. I had an epiphany last night. Anyway, next one.
Moving on.
Where are we at?
We're at your number 3 now.
Number 3 for me. Oh, it's another. This is another one that I think you're going to hate now. So it's the Sanctifier's kill team.
I think this is what the other one should be. This is almost like a better version of that last one.
I think it's. I disagree. I think this is totally different. Yeah. So I think this is, for me, again, it's playing into those religious overtones, which I'm quite clearly fond of. But I think this is more of the imperial cult, like bang on imperial cult. I mean, it's playing into the Catholic overtones. I mean, there's not even overtones. It's blatant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got
I love this one. I think I think there's a real thing called like Catholic guilt, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I think I've got it to a certain extent. And I think a lot of my thoughts on 40K and the imperial cult and the religion element of it, why I find it so interesting is because, I mean, I wasn't brought up a Catholic by any means, but it's been a part of my family for a long time, so I'm quite aware of it. And maybe that's why it resonates with me. But yeah, I really like this box, to be honest, compared to is it Inquisitorial Agents?
Yes.
The one that I didn't like. I think this is like a better version of that. I mean, one of my favorite sculpts in all of 40K is that woman with the script nail to her hands.
Yes.
I think it's such a simple model, but it's so effective. Anyway, this is your pick, not mine.
No.
Tell me why you like it.
This is exactly what we want, man. It's our conversation, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, what she's going full on stigmata, isn't she? It's like, you know, St. Francis of Assisi. It's it couldn't be more on the nose. But again, I think your comment about this being what the inquisitorial agents should have been, I disagree, and I think the inquisitorial agents are very much that. It's the Inquisition, and I think that's the religion led on top as an excuse. But I think this is more representative of religious fanaticism, which I know, which is what we kind of touched on with the sisters and stuff. But I think this is another branch of that kind of that same vibe, but taken to another level. I think what we see here is more of the what I'm looking at, right? So how we have this idea of the Emperor and almost like that manifestation ability that the orcs have if they believe. I think that exists with the Imperium as well. We kind of see it in the miracle mechanic of the sisters. And I think this is what we're seeing here. People that have that belief ingrained in them, you know, it's like psycho indoctrination, isn't it? That then that becomes manifested in the physical aspect of it. I mean, here it's quite clearly told through the stigmata kind of thing with the woman with the scriptures on their hands. I assume that that's what threads they're pulling on there. And I think that works in kind of conveying some of that Blanchitsu style feeling of the early 40K universe, where that was much more exposed to us before it was kind of like more mass marketified. Yeah. And I think this is kind of a little bit of a throwback to that. Again, I think as a kill team, it doesn't really work. I can't reconcile stealth and all of those other things.
This doesn't look like a sort of straight team, does it?
No. Where this does feel just like more fanatic. And yeah, I like it. There's a couple of different build options. The one thing that I don't like on this is the servo cherub with the beard. Like this genetic modification, it's like it was a baby. It's just I don't know. I'm not going to go off and have a whole diatribe of it. Like we've talked about it in a couple of episodes. I don't like that. I don't need it to be that sanitized. But whatever. I think that's a derpy sculpt.
Yeah,
It doesn't really work. But the rest of it, I really like. There's like the ninja assassin guy. I think that's a really cool sculpt. The chap holding up the inquisitorial seal or the imperial seal. Is it inquisitorial seal? Looks cool. And I think this is just like happenstance that this happened to be after the Dark Apostle, where I think this is almost like a mirror of like his fanaticism to a chaos deity compared to this fanaticism to another chaos deity.
Well, arguably, yes.
Arguably, but it's two sides of the same coin, isn't it? How it's represented. So. This almost like in the puritanical sense of it, through that whitewashing, through the religious zealotry, compared to that not hedonistic, but more expressionistic displays of fanaticism through the Master of Possessions, the Dark Apostle. So I think that's kind of worked really nicely as how it's lined up in the list.
Yeah, that was purely accidental as well. Can I? Will you allow me to just go on a slight tangent that does have some relevance?
Yeah, of course.
So we spoke about Gaunt's Ghost earlier.
Take me on a journey.
There's a novella in between a couple of the books, and I think that you would really like this specific bit. So they have one of the models in the Gaunt's Ghost box. I don't know if you noticed, there's a sniper, and he's called Mad Larkin because apparently he's mad. But there's a bit, there's a novella where he's in this sort of ruined building and he's trying to snipe the leader of like a chaos worshipping cult just to take out this army basically by getting him. And he stood there at the top of this building watching everything go on. And there's a statue of a saint who starts talking to him. And he thinks he's mad, and this saint's sort of talking to him and telling him, like, you know, what he's done in his life and what he needs to do and things like this. And he is aware that he's talking to a statue who's talking back to him. And the statue sort of starts moving, comes to life, and wraps a bit of the cloth from her dress, gives it to him, and he wraps it around the stock of his gun to steady it, where it's rattling on the window. And when he sort of comes to, when everybody else turns around, the statue's back, but the cloth has remained.
Oh, is that what's around his gun in the model kit? Nice.
So that's what you're seeing there, and it's idea that you said, where you know how the orcs kind of, when they think it and it becomes real. That's what that reminded me of. So it is very much along. That's a recurring theme, isn't it?
It is,
and I've never really put that together until today. But it's things like that. It's a very different side of Warhammer to seeing Space Marine versus Space Marine, or you know, just an orc chopping something up. There's almost like layers within it.
Yeah.
If you want them, that's there in the midst of these books that are about war and fighting. You've got a lot about faith and a lot about belief and otherworldly things that are relevant to everything else in the world. You know, I mean, we're not religious people by any means, but I really like reading about it in the 40K universe because I don't know, there's just something about it it's almost, what am I trying to say? It's
compelling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's so interesting. You know, we read all these books about war on these, you know, fantastic planets with these superhumans and, you know, races and beings that don't exist in real life, but you've got this element of faith that is prevalent in real life that's also carried across there, and it's a really interesting thing that they've gone to the efforts of putting that in there and why they've done it, and then it reflects in models like this Sanctifiers box set, and I think it just ties it all together really nicely.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I think that's
there, but yeah, it's
a really good point. I mean, I would never have known if we hadn't have had this conversation. So absolutely belting.
I'll try and find. I think it's just a novella, but I think you'd like that. If I can, I've got it. I've got the books. I'll dig out where it is, and I'll bookmark it for you if you want to read it. It's only like a
definitely
20-minute read, but I think you'd get a lot out of that.
Yeah, I'd like that actually. I may pick up the skill team.
Yeah, I think it would surprise me if neither of us did at some point. You know, I think it appeals to both of us, and I think we'd probably do very different things with it paint wise.
Yeah, I think we would.
Yeah, but Yeah, I can imagine what you do with it. I imagine it looked pretty dark and grim.
I'd try it. I think the way that I'm trying to paint more now. I thought I was pretty grimdark before, but I don't feel I was. I wasn't allowing myself to experiment as much. Whereas I think now I've unshackled myself from having to paint entire armies at a time. That I can really start to go to town with stuff. I want to do that. Cool. So yeah, the Sanctifiers was my number 3. What about thee?
Number 3 for me. Sorry, I'm kind of in my old little world there, wasn't I? Going off on a tangent. Number 3 for me, we have got the Death Corps of Krieg, just the standard troopers there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, not a particular one from the box, but yeah, just the standard Krieg troopers on the whole. I mean,
this is the kill team, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it might be the most recognizable guard design ever. You know, similar to, you know, if somebody, what did I say about the Thousand Sons? If somebody said, you know, give me something that epitomizes what they are, I think if somebody said to me, what does Grimdark look like? This is what I'd pick.
Yes.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I feel you.
You got mud, trenches, attrition, warfare. No real heroism. It's just
Spades.
duty. Yeah, spades. It's duty from anonymous, faceless soldiers, isn't it? And
yeah, man.
It's 40k. It's most gritty and miserable, and that's why it works.
You are on form tonight with the verbs, man.
Yeah, I think these lads feel familiar, don't they? Because they're rooted in this World War One sort of trench warfare thing that we learn about in school and we know about it. But trench coats, bayonets, you know, all that stuff, we're familiar with it. But this is turned up to the point where it's almost dystopian in the 40k universe, and it epitomizes what the Imperial Guard are to me. They're not heroes. They're faceless. They're nameless. They're numbers. They're just disposable. And these guys, they're already prepared to be casualties. You know, we know what Krieg are. And these newer sculpts, they're amazing. I've built them. They're fiddly as hell, and they take forever, but they look great. And they're so much nicer than the old Forge World models. The proportion much better. And I cannot wait to paint these guys for Kill Team. The only reason I'm not going to use them straight off the bat is because I've heard they're very steep learning curve. Yeah. Going, you know, having never played Kill Team before, but I'm ready to play them when the time comes. I've got a really cool idea on how I want to paint them. And I've even got a 3D printed dog with his own gas mask to go in with them. I really love these guys. I love the Krieg novels. Yeah, I've just got a lot of time for them, and I always have. And when these new plastic models came out, I was really excited to get my hands on them. Even when there was that ridiculous shortage, I still managed to get 2 boxes to get every variant. So nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love them. I think they're great.
Fair dues. They are great models. I can't say the one. I've painted them, painted them. Yeah. Did them launch weekend when Actaris came out. Kill Team 21. Yep. Oh wow, 5 years ago now.
It's terrifying.
It is. Yeah. So I didn't give them the attention that they deserve because I was smashing them out for a video that I needed to have out on the Monday. So it was literally a case of get them done, painted, and footage of me playing the game. So I would like to paint them again at some point. For me, these are the Imperial Guard. If I was going to have an Imperial Guard army, I've talked about before, I would definitely have Krieg. Yeah. I think as a kill team, it definitely scratched my guard itch. Yeah. I just think the great, this is exactly what we want out of plastic infantry. Yeah. Krieg, Guard, whatever you want to call it.
Do you know what else really
It is great.
The standard Commissar model.
Yeah.
Take his head off.
Yeah.
The gas mask fits on really nicely.
Banging. Yeah.
Green stuff tube. Like, I've done that, and I cannot wait to paint that guy as well. To have my own like Krieg Commissar. I'm going to shoehorn him into the kill team, but
totally, man.
Just as the sergeant or whatever. But yeah, it's things like that. It's just little things because he's got that sort of great coat on and he fits that aesthetic.
Totally.
Yeah, there's just I really like him, and it's 40k. It's grimmest, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It really is, like you say, it's there. And I think there's so much you can do with the paint schemes with these as well. They're so simple. Yeah, you can go OTT with them as well.
I'm not a big fan of this blue that we're seeing.
I quite like it. I don't hate it. I think I did mine black and red.
I'm doing mine black. Predominantly black and grey. I'm going to do mine.
Right.
but I'm gonna try and do like a pink glow on the eye lenses and the plasma weapons.
Funnily
and
enough,
stuff.
I did pink on mine.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's strange, isn't it? But yeah, well, I mean, I think I think that's probably why you taught me about how to do that pink glow when I did some of my Fire Slayers, and I thought that looked really good with black and really deep grey to make it really pop. Because I thought the darker I make them look, it's gonna really pop when I have any form of colour. So to go with a colour that seems really jarring to black, like pink, which you don't often see on these. I've seen a lot of green lenses, a lot of blue, but I thought pink will make them really pop out, and it'll help with like brown mud spatters. That. I thought that's going to clash, but also contrast at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the plan when I get there, anyway.
There's a good shout. It's good. I think I went pink because with the orcs, it played off quite nicely against the green.
Okay.
But yeah, I really like these models. I don't think I can add anything to what you've already said. I think you're absolutely right. This is a great unit. This is a great selection of models, great build options.
There's too many build options. You have to buy 2 boxes, and they are not cheap. But to be fair, I think it's worth it. I was quite happy to pay that. I mean, if you look to your left, Wayne, you will also see I have the Death Core of Krieg Kill Team dice unopened.
You do indeed.
Yeah, so I'm all in for the Krieg guys.
Wow, we'll have to speak to our friends at Baron the Dice and see if they've got any Kill Team specific ones. If you're in the mood for that, I'm sure we'll. Yeah, great pick, man. I am not surprised that they're this high up your list.
So
that sounds wrong, doesn't it? But
it did a little bit, but so we're into our respective top 2s now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, man.
Yeah. I'll let you have a drink. I think you are a little bit under the weather.
I've been continually ill for the past few months. Children.
We both also talk a lot at work, so it gets the further we get in the episode, you can hear us get a little bit hoarse, can't you?
It is.
But so, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Grimaldus and his retinue.
Okay, that's an interesting pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this has been a recurring theme with mine. I've gone for stuff not necessarily that I would go with just because I collected the ranges, but models that I feel for me represent the grim dark future.
Yeah, he's a grim dark beacon of Imperial faith, isn't he?
He is. I mean, this is also partly why I didn't go with the Asmodai. I went with Belial because there's that whole Asmodai, Grimaldus. There's somewhat of a parody between them.
Poor man's Lemites. Didn't want to say that at the time, but but I think this is a really cool choice, actually. Yeah,
I genuinely really like this. I mean, there was a point where I was going to pick up this and then do a head swap on it. It'd been an expensive conversion.
Head swap with what?
Asmodai.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would have been an expensive one.
I mean, I do have the old Asmodai sculpt kicking around in my Bix box.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this again, it's everything that I want from 40K. It looks dirty. It looks. I keep coming back to this thing, and the more we've spoken about it this evening, I mean, I know we've touched on it as a theme, and it does feel like it's been the overarching theme of the episode, but our commentary on the religious overtones of 40K is becoming more and more prevalent as we talk about, and it feels like I didn't realize it at the time, but it's all of those sculpts that are kind of pulling in to it for me.
Yeah,
that I like, because this again, it does feel very religious. We've got like the guy, the servitor, swinging the incense. Excuse me. The guy beating the drum or whatever it is. The guy carrying the double-headed eagle of the Imperium there. It's just vile. It's this religious pageantry, and that just feels so 40K for me.
I mean, I've never put that together. That guy carrying that eagle like that, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it's very much the image of Jesus with the cross.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd never thought of that, so I just saw it there. I don't know how that one passed me by, but yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that it was accidental that we've lent into this whole religion arc as heavily as we have tonight. But yeah, it's quite telling, isn't it? I mean, I think there's a lot to like with this one for me, but there's certain bits of this that I don't like. why I wouldn't be able to put this in my top 10 personally.
Really? Go on.
Yeah, I think it is a little too on the nose. I think it's not subtle in the slightest, is it? You know, I really like Chaplain Geraldus himself. I think it's some of the retinue let it down for me. What am I trying to say? I don't know what you call it. The skeleton within the iron frame.
The skeleton within what are they called? An iron dollar?
I don't know what it's called.
Iron Maiden?
No, Iron Maiden.
Oh, that's with the spikes on the inside, isn't it?
I just hate that. I don't like that big standard with that on top. I think that's too much. I get that it's supposed to be over the top, but it looks top heavy, and there's no way in hell that guy's carrying it can hold that up.
He's a servitor, though.
All right, okay, take that back. But
he's got like a big ass hydraulic arm.
Sorry, you're quite right. Okay. I don't know. It's just I feel like it's a little too busy for me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. And the skeleton actually looks bigger than. I suppose it could be an Astartes, couldn't it? In which case, it would be bigger.
That's a very good point. I need to rethink what I'm saying here, don't I? I'm backing myself into a corner. I think the chaplain model itself is very good, and I think it's a really good example of how a chaplain can look. I don't think a lot of the other stuff's necessary, personally, but that's just me.
It begins with G. The thing that he's in. There's not an Iron Maiden. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know.
Oh, that's going to annoy me. I can't Google it. I'll have to remember it. Begins with G.
I mean, how would you Google that?
They used to put them at intersections of crossroads.
Gibbet.
Gibbet. Thank you.
Sorry, I do remember. Yeah.
Boom. And that. Yeah.
Was it when?
I really like. I like him striding forward. Is Grimaldus Primaris?
That's a good point.
He doesn't look it. It looks a bit firstborn.
Yeah, I don't believe so. How old's the model? That'll tell.
This is quite new, is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only a few years old.
He was from Hell's Reach, right? The Hell's Reach novel. He was.
I don't know.
In that.
But this model came out recently.
Oh, okay.
Or semi-recently. It's like in the past 3-4 years. So he's definitely.
He is Primaris Marine.
Is it?
Following the events of the Third War for Armageddon,
right.
he crossed the Rubicon. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this guy. I just think it looks great. Really like it. I like his helmet as well.
Yeah, his helmet's really cool.
Yeah. It's just good. And I like the paint scheme on this one overall, you know?
That's the first time you said
that
know. Tonight.
The one thing that I personally am not feeling, and I would almost certainly convert it, is his Crozius head. I'm just not feeling it.
No?
And his candles would obviously have to be readied up because red candles are sick.
Yeah.
They just look so much better than the white candles. But yeah, I disagree with your point on the retinue. I really like all of them. I think this as a set, I think this is peak 40k.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't like the Crozius head either, actually. Now you've said that. I never really noticed it. But that does need replacing. But yeah, I think I look at him and in isolation, and I really like that. And I agree with what you're saying, peak 40k for him as the chaplain. But I don't know what it is, actually. I mean, I'd look at that and I think I should like that and I would like it, but I don't know. Can't put my finger on why I don't, to be honest. But I mean, it's your pick, not mine. So
that's it, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. And I can see him being a Dark Angel because plasma pistol. And there's something about having your gun chained to your arm. It seems more Dark Angel than Black Templar, but whatever.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I didn't think of that. But it's a really interesting choice and one that I didn't expect to see, actually.
Fair dues. Well, I aim to please. Right. Do you number 2 for you?
I think you're gonna really hate and question this. So I've gone for Beyond the Fell-Handed here.
You have.
So let me get this out of the way. I'll address the elephant in the room. Yes, it's old. Yes, he's chunky. Yes, he's outdated. That's the point, right?
Yeah, man.
I think it's quite clear that there's a lot of nostalgia in my picks here. This guy, he feels historic. He looks brutal. He looks functional, right? Modern dreadnoughts look modern dreadnoughts look athletic. He looks like a walk-in bunker, and I think that really fits his character quite well. I mean, he's walking history in the 40k world, isn't he? He's one of the oldest living space marines, if not the oldest.
I think he is the oldest.
Yeah. Interred in a dreadnought for 10,000 years. The man fought alongside his Primarch. He's awoken only in the times of dire need. and I think it's another example where the lore is brought to life within a miniature.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think older fans like us are going to recognize this sculpt instantly. It represents an era of Games Workshop design with simpler, chunkier models, and I think sometimes the best model isn't the best sculpt; it's the one that made you love the hobby, and this is one of them for me. If we go back to my first pick again, Ragnar shows you what a Space Wolf is now, but Bjorn shows you what it was before.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I don't think this guy needs a dynamic pose because he's been there before everyone else existed. He doesn't need to stand out. He stands out because of who he is, right?
I'm with you.
I mean, one day I hope we get to see the return of Russ with a new model and perhaps even an updated version of Bjorn. I want to have these two together on the battlefield, even if it is just one last sort of glorious end time battle. It'd be such a cool addition and a fitting sort of full circle. But yeah, it's basic, it's blocky, it's old, but you know who this guy is, don't you?
Damn right, yeah. I think this was the first named character I think I learned in 40K.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big Space Wolf fan in 2nd edition.
How long ago was that?
That would have been 92?
Yeah. Way before my time.
Something like that. I never had Beyond. I did have one of these dreadnoughts that you could kill people with when it was made out of metal.
Yeah, we could throw that.
But yeah, Beyond the Fell-Handed was one of my favorite characters. I remember as a child having deep conversation with my friend that was into Warhammer with at the time about it. I agree with everything what you say. I think this is a great model still. I would love to see an updated version. I hope they don't put in Redemptor, even though the Redemptor is awesome.
And I'd be so good if they did. I think this is kind of the same as I said about some of the Space Wolves, where they're not classed as Primaris, but they're not mentioned as firstborn. I think like Rockfist, what's his name?
Yeah.
Ajak Rockfist, Ayuk Rockfist, however you say that. He's not, and Niall Stormcaller.
Yeah,
he's neither here nor there. They can't put Beyond the Fell-Handed in anything other than this. He needs to be in this classic box dreadnought because that's the point, isn't it? Why would you inter him in a new sarcophagus if it's unnecessary?
Can you put non-Primaris in a Redemptor? Because don't you need the Belisarius Furnace to power the Redemptor? Or have I just made that up?
I don't know, to be honest. Because
like the Redemptors, the reason why they're so much more agile is they burn you. They literally burn you out.
Okay.
They're not meant for keeping you alive. They keep you alive to fight long enough, and then you're gone.
Okay. Well, in that case, that shouldn't happen then, should it?
So,
if we get an updated sculpt where he's still in this pattern, what's this pattern of?
Oh, I was thinking about this the other day, and I remembered what it was called, and now it's completely gone.
Yeah, but you know which one I mean. It's
a box knot.
Yeah, I think if they updated that just for him, maybe bring him up to scale a little bit more, or just give him some different proportions, but keep that boxy, iconic look, then I would pay good money for that. Yeah, I will pay good money for that.
I have a distinct feeling that it'll go. I think they'll kill him because they did it with.
If they right, I don't mind them killing him, but he needs to have a heroic death, and it needs to be at the side. Like, I think it needs to involve Russ. If Russ is going to return,
they have to work him
to save the day. And Bjorn is fighting against, I don't know, a myriad of, let's say, 1,000 suns. And then Russ comes to turn the tide of the battle. And the last thing Bjorn sees is Russ coming back. That's a fitting end, right?
Isn't it just? Yeah, boy.
Yeah, something like that. If anybody from Black Library's listening, you can have that.
Write it.
Yeah,
do it.
That. I'll read it. But yeah, I think it just holds a lot of weight for me. Similar to you, it's just one of the characters I fell in love with as a kid.
Yeah.
That really gripped me. Space Wars have always been one of my favorite chapters, and it's because it's so character driven.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's not the best sculpt in the world. It's the old boxy dreadnought. It's the kit that makes the Murder Fang guy and the
it is indeed,
isn't it? How old's that now?
Oh mate, this is an old kit.
Yeah, but it's got something about it to me.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
And it's the character,
design,
like you say.
Yeah, it's that classic dreadnought design that it just takes me back. And it deserves to be there for me.
It absolutely deserves to be there. I hope they don't kill him off. I think he's part of 40K legacy.
If he has a fitting end, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Can't keep him alive forever.
It's a bloody good choice, is that, man?
Well, I thought you'd have been dead against that one.
No. I genuinely is one of my favorite characters. I can't remember who did the convert. There was a white dwarf and again it was like in the 90s where somebody did a Terminator conversion of Beyond before he was interred into the Dreadnought.
Oh, nice.
It was really good. Like my sugar coated Wayne Vision from. Oh my days, 35 years ago is like pretty like yeah, but it was good. It was good. It was up there with that Mike McVeigh Emperor Sanguinius diorama that I pointed out at Warhammer World, and I remember the issue of White Dwarf where this was in, and they did the breakdown of it. It was around that time, perhaps a little bit before then, when I saw it. And I remember talking with that same friend that I was telling you about. We literally had a conversation, and I can remember it being in my bedroom when we were poring over White Dwarf, talking about it because we both loved the Space Wolves, and it was just like the conversation was, how do you pronounce Bjorn? And it's so like we don't know. Is it Ben? Is it Bjorn? Is that how do you pronounce? So we're trying putting on like a Scandinavian Viking accent, trying to go like.
I like Ben the Fell-handed.
Ben the Fell-handed is what we end up calling him. Yeah, wonderful. This is a really good pick, man. Props. Yeah, I can't add anything to this. It's yeah.
All right. Well, I suppose it's time for your big one now, isn't it?
Number one. Boom, chat.
Just leave that one there.
You set me up for that one.
I did.
Yeah, my number one is contentious. If it's a centerpiece, I'm not, but I think this is much up there with the Nightbringer.
No, give it
your friend of mine, Archmagos Belisarius Call. I love this model. I love this character, and that's it for me. I genuinely love Call. I think he's a great character. He's flawed. All of his personalities are flawed. I like how I love everything about it. I love how he looks. I love the artwork that this was based on.
Yeah.
Even though it's like significantly reduced in scale compared to what that original artwork looked like. If anything, it comes down to the paint job for me on this. I don't think it's representative. I have this. My wife very kindly bought me it for Christmas last year, maybe. Yeah, I've had it for a year.
And that would be the year before, technically.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the year before.
To be pedantic.
And I've still not painted it. I've still not built it. We've talked about it quite recently, didn't we? We did. Yeah. We did. I'm going to be doing a diorama with this guy and Alpha Primus. This is indicative of everything that the fantastic side of 40K is. I love the fact that he looks like he's got a loudspeaker, a klaxon on his shoulder. I love all of the mechadendrites everywhere.
That's such a cool word.
What?
Mechadendrite.
Mechadendrite, yeah. I love when you look at some of the details on this model. I love how, to use one of your favorite words when you're talking about this, I love the whimsy of it. I love like the speaker grills being like the 1920s kind of speaker grills on the like. It's like why would you have that there? I love the almost like old fashioned just the look, the old fashioned look to it. I can't remember the author's name. Jules Verne. It feels like it's like jumps out of a Jules Verne novel. It's got that Victorian futuristic look to it.
Very much so. It's so War of the Worlds kind of style.
Yeah, right.
I get that from it.
Mixed in with some like the Da Vincian aspects that you kind of get as the overtones to the AdMech that we've seen of recent years. That then overlaid with the quite frankly stunning voice acting in the novels.
Oh, I see.
The
I'm
audiobooks.
not an audiobook guy, so I've not heard it.
It brought it to life to me. I don't think if I'd have read the books, that I would have put those voices on. And this, I think I touched on this as well when we talked about this specific character a while back. Much like when I was originally reading some of the Deadpool novels, and I didn't quite understand at the time that each of the colors of the speech bubbles were one of his different internal monologues and different personalities. How that voice actor that's reading the book puts on calls different personalities as he's loading them in and out, and as he's talking to his friend that's then part of his personality in it. Those internal conversations that he's having, and that the voice again pulls you right back to that 1920s mad scientist kind of, out there kind of mental rich guy in a castle, like I've got to think about this, and you can almost imagine him twiddling his tash kind of thing as he goes into his library and he's looking along the bookshelf for that one book, and he taps his finger on it and then pulls out and he's like, yes, in this, it's like, yes, indeed, yes, yeah, that I love it.
It's that mad scientist villain.
It is.
Yeah, I get it.
I know that I love all of the grimdark, and I'm super like, murder, death, kill, like textures and all of this other stuff that makes the grimdark and science, but that whimsy, I don't know, appeals to some part of my psyche that I don't know if I can kind of draw a parallel and I have some type of empathy for the character, or I see kind of part of how I am on a subconscious level, and that kind of like makes me feel like there's something there that I can pull part of one of his characters into me, and it makes it a little bit more intimate in terms of that relationship of why I like this so much, because the aesthetic of it, I think, is very busy. It's very unWayne, I think.
Yeah, it is. Very unWayne.
Which really kind of makes me appreciate it more, that something can elicit such an emotional response and such parity to how I kind of like visualize that world. Makes this just a standout for me. And I think when I look at this alongside the Blanchian artwork, again, I think I can draw something from that, how I can see how it can exist in that world. And even though there is that fun element from the novels, perhaps fun's the wrong word to use there, but you know what I mean, the lighter tones of it. Yeah. Certainly in the new Archmagos book, how he interacts with the agent that's been sent to kind of like audit him almost is really interesting. I think
that sounds so bureaucratic.
It does. Well, Gulliman wants to know where he's at with things, he sends his minion.
Yeah.
And I think that playful nature, it almost he seems like an anti-hero. He doesn't seem like he's not a goodie, he's not a baddie, he's not a villain. He almost feels like the Moriarty to a Sherlock kind of thing. And I just think it's great. So
it's morally great. Yeah, I get everything you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be anywhere near a top 10 for me because it's too busy. And I mean, I'm looking at this from a purely hobby standpoint because I regretfully haven't got around to reading the books yet. So I don't know as much about him as a character as you do, which is probably why I can't gauge that point of reference. But this looks an intimidating model for me to paint. And I think that's kind of what makes me step back a little bit from it. Sure. But I get why you like him, everything you've said on the podcast, everything you've told me off podcast. Looking at that as a painting project standpoint, it's very you on one side, it's very not you on the other, and I get it, but I'm not surprised that it was your number one pick either. But one side I am and on one side I'm not. It's I think what it'll be for me is I'll probably get it when I read the books, and I'll get it when I see your painted version of him, so I can kind of see what you envisage when you're reading this. And I think seeing your version of it will be like, oh, I get why you like him now, because this is what you're picturing rather than this picture that I'm looking at from the Games Workshop website. Yeah. But I think it's a cool pick. I like that. It's almost that steampunky element to
Absolutely.
It. Yeah, I do like that. And I think there's still a big place in Warhammer for it, even though it almost looks like redundant technology, which is strange because of who he is as a character. But yeah, it's a real juxtaposition, but it works for him, and I think that's the point of the character itself, isn't it?
Yes.
From what I do know. But Yeah, it's a really cool pick, and I really like the way you explain that. Because, as I say, I don't know as much about him as you do, but I'll get there at some point.
I'm sure you will. I'm really looking forward to you reading those books so we can.
I've got them.
Explore it in depth.
Definitely. So,
Excuse me.
are you ready for my number one?
I am indeed ready for your number one.
Now,
Let me have a look at who you got.
I think you might be quite surprised by this one.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Yeah?
I am like legit surprised.
Okay. So, number one for me, we've got Dante. Your friend and mine, as you like to say. I mean, yeah, we're looking at a picture of Commander Dante, obviously with the Blood Angels here. He is my number one pick. He obviously is, my favorite Space Marine, basically.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about him, but, he looks like what he's supposed to look like. He's the leader of a Space Marine chapter, and he's so ornate. He's got his angelic death mask. He's got such a regal pose and a commanding presence. I think he doesn't look like just any other hero or any other Space Marine leader. He looks like he's something more, and the sculpt emphasizes it. The Blood Angels already stand out, but Dante takes it further with the fully gold armor. He's got this angelic imagery from his face, and he's got such rich detail on him, and it gives him a real sense of status and an almost mythic quality. He's another one that's old. How old is he? 1,500 years old?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's the second oldest, isn't he?
Yeah.
After Bjorn, I think it's then.
I think this is going to sound really sort of cliche, but, if you paint him right, he doesn't just stand out. He will absolutely shine on the tabletop, won't he? He looks like a living statue, which is exactly what a 1,500-year-old war hero should look like to me. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think if you... In contrast to Ragnar, who's all motion, and then Bjorn, who's got no motion, I think he sits in the middle. He's got a slight sense of forward motion and some flowing details, but he looks like he's advancing rather than charging. He looks composed and regal compared to, aggressive or just flat out stoic. He's somewhere in the middle of that. And I think this is Warhammer almost leaning all the way into its own ridiculousness and absolutely nailing it, because he's got the benefit of all these modern proportions and updated techniques in the mold, but he retains this sort of wacky Blood Angels identity, this, strange angelic nature, and he's 1,500 years old, and it shouldn't work, should it? But it does. He would be an old man in any terms, but he looks dangerous because he looks angelic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does.
To use this sort of analogy again that I've used a couple of times, if you had to show somebody one model to explain why Warhammer is cool, I think Dante would be a really serious contender for this. And that's why I put him at the top of my list, because I think that's just something you could show to somebody. Like, this is a cool model, right? And it has a bit of everything from Warhammer, because he's a Space Marine, obviously, but it's got them religious overtones, like we said, because he's got this angelic nature. We've had a discussion about the Sanguinor in the past, and it shares a lot of that, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm getting a little bit hoarse here, but it leans into that angelic nature, doesn't it? And yeah, I don't know what am I trying to say here. Do you see what I'm getting at?
No.
I don't know. Maybe I'm waffling. I think he's just everything that a Space Marine commander is supposed to be.
I get you.
He stands apart from, I mean, look at how ornate his armor is compared to any other commander of a Space Marine. It's so custom, it's bespoke, and he is just a cut above everybody else. Like, the dude's got he's got a halo. He's he might as well have wings. He's as angelic as you can get without being something as divine as like the Sanguinor, isn't he?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think he's just he's iconic, and he's gothic, and it's fantastic. It's just pure spectacle.
That was you're selling it.
Yeah, I think to go a little bit further, it's less of a miniature and more of a diorama, isn't it? Looking at it on the base. I never owned. I've never owned it, and it's one that I do want to buy, but it's one that I want to be able to do justice.
Yeah, that's fair. It is one of those models, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know how to do non-metallic metal or anything like that, and I wouldn't want to just slap a load of gold paint on it. I think that's one that I will get a few years down the line when I've
Yeah.
been painting a lot longer and I can make that a real display piece.
That's a fair point. I didn't expect this to be a number one pick.
No? What do
No.
you think my number one pick would have been?
I thought it was going to be something Imperial Guard.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be be Dante.
I think Dante's just a cool guy. You know, I really like him in the lore. I think he's still got a story to tell as well. Hasn't
Absolutely, can't die yet.
I think we'll see the end of Dante at some point, but I think
we have to.
Yeah, similar to Bjorn. I hope he goes out in some form of.
Yeah, he's going to go
blaze
out in
of
a bag.
glory.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's almost what his character deserves in a way. You know, I don't think he deserves to be languishing as a 15, 16, 100-year-old guy for much longer. I think he needs to go out and he needs to pass the baton to Mephiston maybe? Or is that how he
that's
sounds?
the voice in the He's got a really high pitched, shrill kind of star screamy voice from I think it's Mephiston.
But yeah, I think you know, I think down the line, if I get him, might put him in a kill team, prox him as a sergeant, just because he's that cool as well. I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't have much objection to that, would you?
I wouldn't have, if that's what you want to do, mate. You do that.
I don't know. I just there's something about that. It just, even in an army of Blood Angels, he stands out. And
Fair
I think
point.
that's why he deserves to be at the top spot for me. I think you know who this guy is instantly. That sculpt, I mean, it's almost un-Space Marine like. He doesn't look overly proportioned. He looks slim. He looks lithe. He looks angelic, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't want to be argumentative. I feel like I've just
You can
slated
be.
all of it.
No,
I
can
don't
be.
like it.
No? What don't you like about
Everything.
it? Everything.
I like no. That's not true. So I'm only joking. I like his Vambaris.
Anything you could pick.
I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the pose. I was really disappointed when this model came out when it got shown. Again, it's the posing of the leg. I don't think it's got the level of motion that you get out of it for me. I think the helmet doesn't work for me either. No. Have I ever shown you mine?
Helmet.
Off air, will. I say mine. I painted it as a commission.
Right. No, I haven't.
And I enjoyed painting it. But I don't feel the sculpt is quite as good. It's one. No, right. Okay. Let me explain more fully now. I've formulated it. This is quite indicative. You touched on this. Like, it feels like this model's been sculpted for non-metallic metal.
Yeah.
And the problem with non-metallic metal is it looks great and it looks perfect from very specific angles. You have to paint it from the angle that you're going to view it at. As a gaming piece, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So I actually painted this twice. I did two versions of him. I did one for display and non-metallic, and I did one as a gaming piece in true metallic.
Okay.
And I think that the photography on the website doesn't do the model justice. There's a very specific golden angle that you have to view it from, and it's none of those on the website.
Okay.
And it works, and that kind of dispels some of my criticisms of the pose. But I think this is somewhat symptomatic of Games Workshop's reliance on very specific styles of doing things. So the toe touching the rock thing to convey the lift element of him being in flight doesn't work for me. I think it detracts from it. Is he well, it has to be landing just from the pose of like how the weight's moving. It has to be landing, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then the flow of the loincloth and the purity seals doesn't then necessarily work as well as it would do. I think there needs to be more downwards weight to it carrying forward. Because it looks like if he's going to stop, then he's just going to tipple off at the top of it. And I realised my voice will have gone weird then because I actually moved away from the mic and did the action. Not great win. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. I don't think it has the gravitas that the character deserves. I don't know if I'm being hard to please. I don't know if I'm if I'm conflating this with Bastion Karthos, and I think that is like a significantly better portrayal of a character that is quite similar.
Okay.
To go back to, what I mean, don't you, from AOS?
Yeah.
I think something like that would be, it wouldn't have had the motion, and I realize that we need the lofty element of the jump assault for Dante, but I think they could have done something more like that for him having this table presence where everything that you said I can't disagree with, but for me it doesn't sell Dante as a character. But that's not to disparage anything that you found great about this.
I think I know I get what you're saying about this whole sort of posing element, and this weight distribution and the flowing of the cape and the purity cells. I get that, but what I almost envisage that on the flip side, where he's got this sort of weird ethereal angelic nature that kind of goes against, I guess, laws of gravity as such. I mean, he's got his jump pack that can arrest his momentum somewhat.
True.
And that's what I get. I almost imagine if he is landing, it's almost silent, apart from you just hear maybe a burst of a jump pack to sort of arrest him. Yeah, that kind of thing. And it's almost this ethereal nature that it is almost defying physics in a sense, because he's at that level. I know he's in the Astartes, but he's almost ascended humanity in the sense that he's a cut above, isn't he? That's the idea I get from him. And
I get that.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but it's not as much of a detractor for me because I can see it from a different angle.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. I think it's an interesting pick. It's certainly not what I thought you were going to pick. So
you thought I was going to go for something.
I thought it would be something Imperial Guard. I don't know what, but I thought it'd be Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Slime Arbo, number one.
Could have been Slime Arbo, yeah. Absolutely.
I do like that model, but not enough to go in the top 10. Maybe at number 11.
That's it. So that's our respective top 10 40k models at the moment.
Yeah.
No Eldar, very little Xenos.
No. One each.
Some Nids.
One each, but it was the same one.
Yeah.
Strangely, yeah. But,
that was random. Yeah. No Orcs.
No, I do have an honourable mention, actually.
You do have an honourable mention, don't you?
I do.
Go on.
Inquisitor Karamazov. Is that how you say it? Karamazov?
I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't put this guy in any other setting, could you?
I can't open the link.
Oh, right. Well, you know who it is. Quickly type it in. Do you know in your mind's eye who this is?
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, I have literally no idea.
You won't find him on the Games Workshop website.
Will I not?
No, he's been out of print for a long time.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, he's not a current model.
Please hold on.
You'll know who it is.
I'm literally gonna have to. Why is everything going wrong? It's because it's been a long day.
Well, while
I'm
you
getting
pull it
tired.
up, I mean, this guy, he's been long out of print, but he's very over the top. It's pure spectacle. At the time, it really embodied what Warhammer was to me. Absolutely, just gothic and craziness, really. I suppose you'll get it when you see it. Sorry, I'm quite clearly filling time while you're typing like a granddad here. With one finger for some reason.
It's on a touch screen that's stood up on your table.
While you're looking it up, this guy is an Inquisitor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sitting in a giant
all right.
throne,
Yeah, I know he is now.
covered in guns, being carried into battle.
Yeah, all right. That's Mel.
Yeah, what's not to like about
that's
this?
Mel.
Right? Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I know who he is now. Sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah, that's Metal AF, man.
I couldn't justify putting him in the top 10 because he's not a current model. And yeah, it's showing its age, but it's similar. It takes me
absolute gangster.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad, but it's a hark back to my, I think, 9th pick of the Sister Superior, because it's that early 2000s Warhammer artwork again, isn't it? But in physical form. Whereas the Sister wasn't the big flashy model, this was the big flashy model, wasn't it? It's but again, incredibly on theme. It's just sheer 40k madness, isn't it? It can only work in 40k, but somehow it feels like it has a place there.
When I get old, if my kid doesn't put me in something like this, we better be at the point where I can have one of these.
Yeah.
And I want like the scribey dude there typing something on parchment because I'm in this big walking thing of gun death annihilation. I can have somebody in like at the is that a servitor?
Does kind of look like you to an extent.
Dude, I mean, I'm feeling this. I'm sure I've got a proxy of this, you know.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you did, but it's just
it's
just crazy, isn't it?
That is a good honourable mention, Will.
Yeah.
I think that is.
I don't know if we'll ever see the like of this model again in 40K, but I mean, if they made an updated version, I think I'd have to buy it.
What an absolute gangster.
Yeah.
Do you know who I thought you were going to go with? I do know who. I thought you were going to go with Heisenhorn. That's who I thought you were going to go with.
No, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of him novels. I'm not a fan of that mini. Not a fan.
Okay.
No.
Fair. Yeah, that's who I genuinely thought you were going to go. That would be Eisenhorn.
I think he would be as low down on my list as I could possibly put him, to be honest.
Random.
Him and Gulliman would be down there languishing at the bottom.
Yeah, girly man is a bit of a girly man. Good old Bobby G.
Bobby G, yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's our top 10, guys. I think we're both kind of surprised by each other's picks, but then at the same time, not surprised with some of them. But yeah,
Absolutely.
Let us know. I mean, did these rank anywhere near your guys' top 10? Let us know what you think to our picks. If we got it nailed on, if we got it way off the mark, let us know.
Let us know. Join the Discord. Tell us in there. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave reviews everywhere. And tell us in those reviews.
Yeah, tell your friends, tell your parents, your kids,
your dog, whoever. Just tell people. Go and listen to Will and Wayne. Listen, feel no pain. You might feel some pain if you talk this long and you listen to us all the way to this point because we're still going.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pain. My throat's killing me, but we don't mind, and we've still got more to go. So yeah, we'll have a quick reprieve, and then we'll be right back in a second.
I need a drink.
So guess what? We're gonna leave it there for this episode. We've talked quite long enough, I think, this time. You've heard us wax lyrical about our top 10. We've not talked about the hot sauce. We'll talk about that next week. Shall we just talk about it? Shall we just do it now? Quickly. Very succinctly. Go on then, Will.
So we have got, I guess our American listeners will probably know about this more than the UK listeners, but we've got a bottle of Tapatio in front of us. I think I'm saying that right, but that is a fairly down the middle hot sauce.
Tasty. It was all right. Yeah, it wasn't hot. It was sharp.
Sharp. I'd say tomato-y.
Yeah.
Tomato, red pepper, garlic.
Lime.
Yeah.
I was getting lime on.
Zing, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's good. I think very much a utility sauce.
Yes, absolutely.
We obviously had it on some wings, but I think, do you know what?
It was the wing position.
Egg.
Scrambled egg. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, I don't know what happened with my voice. I don't know why, but
I think you could put it. It's one of them ones you could put on a lot of things.
Yeah,
but yeah,
definitely.
Scrambled egg. I think that'd be really good.
I think it'd be nice in a Bloody Mary.
I've never had a Bloody Mary.
Oh, well, we need to rectify it.
I don't drink.
But we could have a Virgin Mary.
Is that just tomato juice?
Yeah.
I don't like raw tomatoes.
Oh my God. Well, it's going to have hot sauce in it, innit?
I just drink hot sauce.
Oh my days.
Give me a glass of hot sauce.
You are just hard work.
But no, I think, it's one I've not had since I've actually been in America, which was 10 years ago. That's where I first had it. I mean, you can pick it up over here relatively cheap, but I think it's a good alternative to, a Frank's or a Tabasco, Cholula. I guess it's in that realm. Maybe a little hotter, but it's not hot.
I'd smash it over sriracha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Nicer taste than sriracha.
Definitely.
Yeah. Doesn't have that sort of funk that you get with sriracha.
Yeah,
it's that level of heat, I'd say.
I'm with you.
Yeah. But no, it's a really good sauce. I think put that on some fajitas or just on anything Mexican it would work with, wouldn't it?
I'm going to go with
as a Mexican hot sauce. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it'd be nice on some nachos. Yeah, some melted cheese on there, some jalapenos. Yeah.
That would be good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the Butterzone. Is that right there? I'm there for it.
The second time you said Butterzone.
I love saying Butterzone. I don't know why. I have no idea where it ever came from. Anyway, we digress yet again. But, so yeah,
if you don't know about Tapatio, actually, have a look on our Instagram page because there is a picture of what the bottle looks like on there.
There is indeed.
But impressed with it. It's not earth shattering. It's not blow your head off. It's just a very tasty, relatively cheap hot sauce.
Banging. Yeah, tasty.
No, I don't think we need to do a mini of the episode today?
No, I think we've done 21 minis of the episode.
Yeah, and I think our respective hobby updates are pretty much non-existent because real life's got in the way. But
hopefully, I should be back on the old bike next
on the
week.
hobby horse.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens then. But
I've got a bit of time off next week as well, time off work, so I have earmarked it to start some work on kill teams. So I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Do it. Yeah. I've not done anything. I've picked up a couple of books.
Yeah.
Picked up the last 3 Psychic Awakening books, or the middle 3 Psychic Awakening books. And I also got Kill Team Justin. I can't remember if we talked about that last time. Got Kill Team Justin and the Death Guard one. I built those now. So happy times. I'm on with my kill teams. Nice. So we're all Gucci there. We should be
have more of a hobby update next time round. Yeah. And we'll also have some reaction to the Adepticon reveals, won't we?
Oh yeah,
which
that's happening. I am very excited. But until then, I think let's call it a day. We're done. We're done. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. As we said earlier, leave us a comment, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. You can find us everywhere. Search for Feel No Pain Podcast. You can find us at feelnopainpodcast@gmail.com. Join us on Discord. But until next time, I've been Wayne.
I've been Will.
See ya.